Seconds there. Stand by, all cameras.
Ready with slow motion, the night limit cameras.
Stand by, videotape, and rotate.
The tape is rolling in less than 5, in 3, 2, 1.
Take tape.
The city of Miami welcomes you to the Orange Bowl. And tonight, 80,000 plus have jammed their way into the Orange Bowl to watch their favorites. Tonight, they go against the St. Louis Cardinals versus the Miami Dolphins. And ABC's NFL Monday Night Football is brought to you by Goodyear. More people ride on Goodyear tires than on any other kind. And by Ford and your Ford dealers. See all the better ideas for 73 at your Ford dealers. And by Aurora, where holiday fun is built into every game. Yes, that's part of the enthusiastic, rabid crowd here to see their favorite team, the Miami Dolphins, and there's the record, the most impressive record in all of the National Football League. 10 games played, 10 games won. Big victories in the early going over Kansas City and Minnesota. 2 key wins over the Jets. Some say an easy schedule, but forget it. Because, as you all know, Buffalo beat San Francisco. Houston beat the Jets. Anybody can beat anybody. Ask the Los Angeles Rams about it. So give the Dolphins credit for the kind of fandom they've got here tonight, the kind of record they've produced.
Rick Weaver, Lou Kriegmer, and Henry Barrow back at the Orange Bowl. Bakken is preparing to kick off, and here we go. He gets the toe into it. It is high, and it is deep. It is to Charlie Lee on the goal line. Out straight ahead, 5, 10, 15 to the 20. He's knocked down at the 25-yard line. Charlie Lee is tripped up at the 25 by Chuck Beatty, who was just activated today, a member of the specialty teams. There is a flag down back at the Dolphins' 45-yard line, and we'll see what this is all about.
And Ricky only caught him by the shoe. Otherwise, Charlie would have been gone all the way.
It is going to be a holding call on the kickoff against Marlon Briscoe, I believe, who was playing on the specialty teams. Now let's see what the call is. That's what it is, holding on the kickoff back at the 12-yard line. Henry?
The penalty was called on Jim Langer.
On Jim Langer, not Marlon Briscoe. Briscoe is in the ball game. He and Stowe are the receivers. And the running backs are Mercury Morris and Larry Zonka. So the Dolphins start from their 12-yard line. 1st and 10, Dolphins moving from our left to our right. Morrill, the quarterback, has Zonka and Morris in the eye. Here's the snap. Handoff goes to Mercury, cuts outside over the left side, and gets about a yard to the 13-yard line. Bob Rowe, the defensive right side tackle, number 75, in on the stop, a gain of about a yard. And Briscoe is coming out. Morris is out. And Jim Kick comes in into the backfield for the Dolphins. It'll be a 2nd down and 9. The Dolphins have the football at our 13-yard line. Earl Morrill, the quarterback. Jim Kick and Larry Zonka are the running backs. Now Howard Twilley is in the ball game, and he and Stowe are split off the far side. Dolphins 2nd down and 9 from our 13. Twilley in motion to the near side of the field. Morrill play fake, throws to the far side. Stowe drops the ball at the 10. It's an incomplete forward pass. A little flare pass to the far side of the field. And Earl got it up there kind of high. Otto had to jump in the air for it and hit him right in the hands, and he couldn't hold on to it. So that'll bring up a 3rd down and 9 situation for the Dolphins. The ball at our 13-yard line. Dolphins have Stowe and Twilley as the wide receivers. Crusan and Evans are the tackles. Fleming the tight end. Kuchenberg and Little the guards. Langer at center. Kick and Zonka are the running backs. Morrill is the quarterback. Earl brings him out. Stowe splits to the far side. Twilley to the near side of the field. A 3rd down and 9, Dolphins football from our 13-yard line. Morrill drops back to throw, sets up. He is firing across the field. Stowe's got it, and he's out of bounds at the 30-yard line. Good for a 1st down. 17 yards on the pass completion from Morrill to Otto Stowe, and he's run out by the cornerback Norm Thompson on the right side. So Morrill completes his first pass, 17 yards, and the Dolphins pick up a 1st down. Mercury Morris comes back in the Dolphins offensive backfield, replacing Kick.
offensive line shouldn't have any problem with their assignment so far, Rick, because all we've seen St. Louis play so far is a 4-3, and right on that play they had man-for-man coverage.
All right, Stowe splits far side, Twilley to the near side. Morris and Zonka set in the eye. Zonka going into tonight's ball game. Needs 189 yards rushing to get to the 1,000-yard mark. Hand off to Morris. Squirts for a hole on the right side. Gets across the 35. Out to about the 37-yard line before Mark Arneson, the middle linebacker, a rookie from Arizona, makes the stop. A gain of 7. It'll be 2nd down and 3. For the Cardinals, Brum, Richardson, Rowe, and Imhoff. In the front 4, Stallings, Arneson, and Miller. Linebackers left to right. The cornermen are Farr and Thompson. And the safeties, Worley and veteran player coach Larry Wilson. Those are the strong safety now. Twilley and Stowe split off the far side. Dolphins 2nd down and 3 from our 37-yard line. Zonka and Morris in the eye. Here's the handoff to Zonka. Hole on the right side. He's through across the 40 to the 41 for a first down. Bob Rowe, 6-year veteran, 6'4", 260 from Western Michigan. Defensive tackle for the Cardinals. Makes the stop on the play. They prefer to call this team the Big Red in St. Louis rather than the Redbirds in order to distinguish between the baseball Cardinals and the football Cardinals. First down, Dolphins, ball at the Miami 41-yard line. We've just started the ball game, 2 minutes having elapsed. There is no score. Miami took the opening kickoff and began this drive from their 12-yard line. Stowe and Twilley are split to the far side of the field. Morrill takes the handoff, drops deep to throw. He is throwing deep down the far sideline. It is in between Stowe and Twilley and out of bounds, incomplete. Otto Stowe was the man for whom the pass was intended, but the ball was a little bit underthrown, and Twilley was the shallow man moving up the far side of the field. The trailer, Larry Wilson, covered on the play. So it'll bring up a 2nd down and 10. The ball at the Dolphins' 41-yard line. Airtime on WIOD and the Dolphin Network for the game from Foxborough next week, Foxborough, Massachusetts, Schaefer Stadium against the New England Patriots will be at 12:50. And the weather should be getting cold up there about this time of the year, the first week in December. The Dolphins will be gone for the next 2 weeks, playing New England next Sunday, and the New York Giants at Yankee Stadium, a hot ball club, 62 points yesterday on December the 10th. Dropping to throw is Morrill. He's looking, being pursued, and he's dumped. Morrill lost back at about the 29-yard line. Don Brum, the veteran from Purdue, the 10-year veteran, number 86, came barreling through there and throws Morrill for a loss back to the 30-yard line. Is where they're going to mark it.
Rick, they played tricks on that when Don Brum actually dropped back off the line and then went back over the tackle spot while the tackle pulled off Little and Evans out to the outside.
All right, the Dolphins now have 3 wide receivers in the ball game as Briscoe comes in and Fleming comes out. A 12-yard loss as they mark it back to the 29. It'll be a 3rd down and 22 for Miami. The ball at the Dolphins' 29-yard line. Briscoe splits far side. Stowe and Twilley to the near side. Morris and Zonka, the split backs behind Morrill. He drops to throw. Has time. He sets up, pumps once, fires. It is almost picked off. And the man for whom it was intended was knocked down, Larry Zonka, at the 37, and flags go down. We're going to get an interference call against the Cardinals. He was being wrestled to the turf before the ball got there, and the defensive man only has equal possession at that football after the ball is in the air, and we got the call against the Cardinals. Personal foul is going to be the indication, not interference. Personal foul against St. Louis.
Rick, on that play, Bob Rowe just about took Earl Morrill's head off there. When Earl threw that ball, he had to throw it around the big fat arm of Bob Rowe.
And Briscoe comes out, and Fleming goes back into the ball game. The Dolphins pick up a first down on the penalty call, and the ball is placed down at the Miami 44-yard line, and St. Louis is still arguing with referee Bernie Ullman on the call. It was against the middle linebacker, Mark Arneson, the rookie from Arizona. And so the Dolphins have a first down at our 44-yard line. We have 12 minutes and 11 seconds left to go in the first quarter. There is no score. And the Dolphins trying to keep this thing going here. Morrill, the quarterback, has Twilley and Stowe as the wide receivers. And we have Morris and Zonka as the split backs. In behind Earl Morrill. First down as Earl brings him up to the line of scrimmage. Ball at the Miami 44-yard line. Cardinals showing a 5-man front. Here's the handoff to Burke. Sweep to the near side. He does not get the corner turn. He gets back to the line of scrimmage, and that's all. Tackled by left corner Miller Farr, 8-year veteran from Wichita State, who is the brother of Mel Farr of the Detroit Lions. Larry Stallings, the left side linebacker, also drifting over to make the stop on the play. No gain. It'll be 2nd down and 10. As the Dolphins having a little bit of problem running thus far against this St. Louis ball club. Morrow back in the huddle. Breaks him out. Stowe splits far side, Twilly to the near side.
Rick, we're seeing better pursuit on behalf of the Cardinals than we have in quite a few teams that the Dolphins have played in the last few weeks.
All right, Morrow dropping to throw. He sets up. Flag goes down. He pumps to the near side. Way overthrown, intended for Twilly, down at the 35.
And that flag going down like that, Rick, has got to mean that somebody in offense is holding.
We're going to get a holding call against the Dolphins, and thus far in the ball game, the Dolphins have not looked too good, and that's putting it mildly. They've had a couple of penalties against them, and also one against the Cardinals. So Briscoe comes in, Fleming goes out, and we've got the 3 wide receivers in again. St. Louis elects to take the penalty, and that sets the ball back to the Miami 29-yard line. Dolphins detected holding on the pass protection, presumably. It'll bring up a second down and 25 for Miami. The ball back at the Dolphins' 29-yard line. We're in the first quarter. The Dolphins with the top rushing team in the National Football League and the best defensive team in the pass and overall. Henry?
Bob Kuchenberg got the holding call.
All right, Twilly and Stowe are split to the far side. Briscoe to the near side. Morris and Zonka, the split backs in behind Morrill. A second down, 25 for the Dolphins, 29. Handoff and a drop play. Morris finds a hole on the left side, slips and falls down as he gets to the 35-yard line. He was going outside, cut back to his right, and picks up about 6 yards on the play. Covering him was the right side linebacker, Terry Miller, a 3-year man from the University of Illinois. And Jim Kick comes into the Dolphins offensive lineup now. And let's see who is coming out. Zonka comes out, so Morris and Kick are the running backs for the Dolphins. It'll be a third down and 19 for Miami, who have maintained possession here for about 4.5 minutes and have not gotten the ball across their own 45-yard line. Here is Twilly, and Stowe split to the near side. Back to throw goes Morrill. He looks, swings a screen out to Kick. He gets a block at the 35, shakes a tackle at the 40, and he's knocked down up at about the 43-yard line. Jim Kick picks up about 8 yards. Bob Rowe, a defensive tackle for the Cardinals, makes the stop on the play. That is not enough for a first down, so we'll get our first look at Billy Lothridge, number 7, whom the Dolphins signed as a free agent this past week, an 8-year veteran. We timed hanging the football up there about 5 seconds, which is excellent. And his pregame kicks, Lothridge has punted with the Rams, the Cowboys, was cut by the Falcons right before the season, went into business in Atlanta. Back as the deep man, Worley and Mel Gray. And this Gray can really fly, has a time of 9.2 in the 100, 4.3 in the 40. Played his college ball at Missouri. Here's the snap. Lothridge gets a pretty good rush. He gets it up there. It'll be grabbed back at the 24-yard line and down immediately as the Dolphins specialty team is down on top of them. Howard Kendig is down to make the tackle. And so the Cardinals will start from their 24-yard line. Worley is the man who had the football, and he could get no place. We get a timeout. Dolphin football action continues from the Orange Bowl. With the score are Dolphins nothing, St. Louis nothing. Rick Weaver back at the Orange Bowl. We got a first look at the Cardinals offensively following the 33-yard punt by Lothridge. Gary Quazzo is the quarterback. Donnie Anderson, Johnny Rowland set in the eye. And in motion to the near side comes the flanker. Here's the handoff going to Donnie Anderson, trying to hit the left side, and he gets no place. He is stopped by Manny Fernandez for no gain on the play.
Anderson was the ball carrier.
Donnie Anderson, the ball carrier. They put the ball down at the 25, so give him a gain of a yard. As it didn't look from here as if he picked up anything, but they give him a gain of a yard. It'll be second down and 9.
26.
Bobby Moore and Walker Gillette are the wide receivers. Gillette, along with Jackie Smith, the tight end, split off the far side, and they set in a tandem. To the near side is... Here's the pass. He flares one out on the screen to Walker Gillette. He fumbles a football. It's loose at the Cardinals 29. Recovered for the Dolphins. The pass was complete. A screen off that double set by the tight end Smith and by Gillette. Gillette caught the ball. He was hit, fumbled, and safety Dick Anderson comes up with it for the Dolphins at the Cardinals 29-yard line. So the Dolphins come up with the football for the first time, even before we could set the Cardinals' offensive attack for you. Pass was complete to wide receiver Walker Gillette, and Anderson recovered, so the Dolphins have it at the St. Louis 29-yard line. Now let's see if Morrow can move this football team. He was not able to do so with a great deal of efficiency the first time they had the ball. A tight set. Here's the handoff. Morris is hit right at the line of scrimmage, trying to go straight ahead, and the Merc gets nothing. It'll be a second down and 10. Mark Arneson, the middle linebacker, on the stop. for St. Louis. Actually lost about a yard as they put it down about at the 30-yard line.
Stallings really came in from his side, too, Rick, and really got a piece of Mercury.
We'll call it a 2nd down and 11 at the St. Louis 30-yard line. And this St. Louis defense, particularly against the rush, has been very good so far. 8:20 to go in the first quarter. There's no score. Otto Stoll splits left, 20 to the near side. Morris and Zonka, the I-backs, and behind Morrill. 2nd and 11. Here is the handoff to Merck. Sweep to the right side. Gets the corner turned, and he does not get very far as he's belted out of bounds at about the 25. Down the near sideline, Larry Stallings, the left side linebacker, coming across. Made the tackle on the play. They'll give him a gain of about 5. And it'll bring up the 3rd down, and we'll call it 6. Jim Kick comes in. Morris is out, so Kick and Zonka the running backs.
Rick Stallings looks real good at that left linebacker spot out there. He should have been blocked by Marv Fleming, and there was no way that Marv Fleming could get him down. He's the man that messed up the play, getting around the corner.
All right, the ball at about the Cardinals' 25.5-yard line. Stowe splits to the far side, 20 to the near side. Now Zonka sets as a slot man left. Kick the other running back in behind Morrill. 3rd down and about 6. Earl drops to throw. Fires a slant in. Twilley at the 10. Inside the 10 to the 8-yard line. Howard Twilley knocked down by cornerback Miller Farr. Just a slant over the middle, and Morrill hit it right in the numbers. Hit him with a strike. And Twilley got inside Farr, and Farr made the tackle from behind. And the Dolphins pick up a 1st and goal situation off the 17-yard pass completion from Morrill to Howard Twilley. So the Dolphins have the football at the Cardinals' 8-yard line.
Rick, that was just a simple slant to Twilley in there right over the middle, and I'm sure Farr thought that he could cover because he's so deceptive with his speed.
Stoll wide to the left, Twilley inside off the near side. Kick and Zonka split backs in behind Morrill. 1st and goal from the 8-yard line. Hand off to Zonk. Sweep to the left side. He gets the corner turn to the 5. Drags a tackler with him, and he's knocked out of bounds at the 5-yard line on the far side of the field. Weak safety Roger Worley, number 22, the 4-year man from Missouri, was hanging around Larry's hips for dear life, and he gets a gain of 3 on the play. It'll be a 2nd down and goal. Dolphins football at the Cardinals' 5-yard line. Airtime next week at 12:50 on WIOD and these Dolphins stations from Schaefer Stadium in Foxborough, Massachusetts, as the Dolphins meet the New England Patriots for the 2nd time. Stowe splits to the far side, Twilley to the near side. Butch and Sundance, the I-backs, in behind Morrill. 2nd and goal from the 5-yard line. Earl with a long count at the line of scrimmage. Hands off. Zonka hits the middle on the quick hitter into the middle as Morrill, moving away from the line of scrimmage, hands the ball off to Zonka as he goes by. And Zonka moves down to about the 2-yard line. A tackle made by John Richardson, the former Dolphin from UCLA, and Bob Rowe, the 2 defensive tackle. Put the ball down at the 2. It'll be 3rd down and goal from the 2-yard line. Mandich comes in, and Stowe comes out. The Dolphins have the 2 tight ends.
Let's see if Earl goes with that favorite play of his, Rick, here, and goes on the end run that he's run so successfully all year long.
3rd and goal from the 2. Twilley sets as a wingman left. And Zonka and Kick are the split backs in behind Morrill. Here's the handoff to Kick over the left side. He digs and drives and bucks his way into the end zone for a touchdown. And here come our white handkerchiefs. Jim Kick was hit by cornerback Norm Thompson at about the line of scrimmage, and he just carried him into the end zone with just a great leg drive and carrying him into the end zone. Kick picks up the score, his 4th touchdown of the season, and it's a 6-0 ball game. There's a timeout on the field. Somebody is shaken up. Dolphin football action continues from the Orange Bowl with a score of Dolphins 6, the Cards nothing. On the try for point, Yepremian puts her right through the uprights, and the Dolphins now have a 7-0 lead with 5:57 left to go in this first quarter. And on that particular drive, the Dolphins moved the football 29 yards in 6 plays, and this was keyed by Anderson's recovery of Gillette's fumble following the pass reception from Gary Quazzo. And the big play was that 17-yard pass reception from Morrill to Howard Twilley, which gave the Dolphins such excellent field position. Kick gets his 4th touchdown of the season.
And Rick, if there was any question about the condition of Jim Kick's knee, that last run should have dispelled it from anybody's mind. Boy, he really dug on that play, and Terry Miller will attest to it as he walked off the field.
Miller was taken off. He was replaced by Hargrove, and back to receive the kickoff. Let's pause here while we're waiting for station identification on the Miami Dolphins Football Network.
Your best bet for a beautiful Buick is at William Lehman Buick, the dealer you can believe in. William Lehman Buick, 163rd Street in North Miami Beach.
WIOD Miami. This is Rick Weaver back at the Orange Bowl. Henry?
About the only thing we have to report, Rick, is that Howard Kendig suffered a little split lip. No problem. Not a bad one.
All right, Garrow will prepare to kick off. To the Cardinals, Bobby Moore, the youngster wide receiver, a real speedster from the University of Oregon, number 28, deep off to the far side. And Mel Gray, who can fly, number 85, down the near side. 7-0, Dolphins out in front, 5:57 to go in the first quarter. Here is the kick. He gets it right at the goal line, grabbed by Moore. He's at the 5, 10, cuts for the far side, picks up a block, shakes a tackle at the 15, still going at the 20, and is smacked down at the 23-yard line. Bobby Moore returning 23 yards. And the tackle on the play, and the Dolphins specialty team made by Larry Ball, a youngster from the University of Louisville. They put it at the 24, so we'll give him a return of 24 yards, and the Cardinals will start from that position. Cosell, 10-year veteran, number 15 from Virginia, will be the quarterback. Donnie Anderson, the number 44, and Johnny Rowland, number 23. On the running backs, Bobby Moore and Walker Gillette on the wide receivers, and they are both split off to the right side. Now in motion to the near side. Here's the pitch. Coming to Anderson, sweep to the left, cuts back into his right across the 25, gets out to the 28-yard line. Dick Anderson tackles Donnie Anderson. A gain of about 4 on the play. Well, let's make it 3 now as they decide they're going to put it down at the 27-yard line, so it'll be 2nd down and 7. The tackles are Deerdorf and McMillan. The guards are Dobler and Young, and the center is Tom Banks. The tight end is the veteran Jackie Smith. Mel Gray has just come in, and he and Bobby Moore are the wide receivers now. 2nd down, 7. Cardinals football from their 27. Cosell. Quick in the middle to Smith. He's got it at the 40. Breaks the tackle. 45. Outside of the 50 into Dolphin territory at the 45 and knocked down at the Miami 41-yard line. A great effort by 11-year veteran Jackie Smith from northwestern Louisiana. The tight end, the tackle by Colin and Jake Scott. And this guy can run after he gets the football. They put it down at the 42-yard line. And the Cardinals pick up the first down at the Miami 42 as Cosell on the quick in across the middle hit the tight end Jackie Smith, and he was bumping off people and running for pay dirt. 31-yard pass completion at the Dolphins' 42-yard line. Double wide receivers put off to the far side. Here's the handoff. Going inside is Johnny Rowland over the right side. He gets about 4 yards to the Miami 38-yard line before he is knocked down by tackle Bob Hines. Defensively for the Dolphins, Denherter, Fernandez, Hines, and Stanfill on the front four. Swift, Bonaconte, and Cole on the linebackers. Foley and Johnson the quarterbacks, and Jake Scott and Dick Anderson the safeties.
Rick, on that reception by Jackie Smith, Tim Foley did an excellent job of a cornerback. He's supposed to turn everything back into the inside so that those defensive halfbacks back there, the safety men, can make the tackle exactly the way that it's diagrammed. Did a great job.
2nd down and 6. Cardinals ball at the Miami 38-yard line. Miami out in front 7-0. Carazo up under center barks the signals. He's a dentist. Here is the handoff going to Rowland over the left side. 30, 25 down to the 22-yard line. Rambles Johnny Rowland, who has been bothered with injuries in his career, but he ran pretty well that time. Curtis Johnson makes the tackle, and that is good for another St. Louis first down.
Rick, it's hard to believe that this team has been averaging under 100 yards a game. When you look at the offensive blocking they've been receiving here in this first quarter, it's been really great blocking.
16 yards for Rowland, and the Dolphins now face a tough defensive situation as the fans set up the defense chant. The wide receivers are split to the far side. Rowland and Anderson, the split backs, in behind Cosell. First down at the Dolphins' 22-yard line. On the snap, Cosell, play fake, looking right. He's throwing into the end zone. It is deflected away at the goal line. I believe the defender got a hand on it. Pass was intended for Mel Gray coming off the far side and breaking in at the goal line. The pass perhaps a little bit underthrown. Foley and Scott were the defenders on the play. It was hard to tell from here whether either one of them got a hand on it, but the ball was deflected away from the receiver. It'll be a 2nd down and 10. For the Cardinals, the ball at the Miami 22-yard line. 2 minutes, 34 seconds left to play in the first quarter. Dolphins leading 7-0. Turning a fumble. 29-yard drive, 6 plays, into a touchdown run by Jim Kick. Waiting for the snap from center now on a 2nd and 10. From Miami's 22. Here's a draw play. Handoff going to Johnny Rowland, and he is stacked up, trying to come across the left side on a counter. off the draw series, and he hits to about the 21, and that's all. Bob Hines threw his 270 pounds in there, and Nick Bonicatti, the Dolphins' defensive captain, and now Bob Matheson comes in, and Hines comes out as the Dolphins go into a prevent variation of the 53 defense. The ball is at the Miami 21 with a 3rd down and 9 situation. 2 minutes, 5 seconds left to go in the first period.
Rick, Bob Hines made that tackle on something they work on all the time out there at training camp, where he drops back and comes around to the outside and makes that tackle.
Bobby Moore splits to the far side. Slot man right is Gray. Now he comes in motion to the near side. On 3rd down and 9 from the 21. Back to throw. Cosell. He fires the middle. Knocked down. Almost intercepted at the 10-yard line. Jake Scott. The ball hit him right in the numbers and bounced off his chest. The pass was intended for Johnny Rowland, and it's an incompletion, so that brings in the field goal unit with Jim Bakken. Bakken, 11 for 17 on the season in the field goal department with 45 points. A right-footed kicker who played his college ball at the University of Wisconsin. Larry Wilson will hold. This will be a 28-yard attempt. Snap was a little bit high. Set down, the kick is up. It's no good, off to the left. That snap was a little bit high. And so the Dolphins hold and take over at their 20-yard line. Bakken misses a 28-yard field goal attempt. The snap was a little bit high. Took Wilson an extra instant to get the ball down. Wayne Mulligan was the center on the play, so the Dolphins will put the ball in play from their 20. But there's a timeout on the field. Dolphin football action continues from the Orange Bowl with the score. Our Dolphins 7, the Cardinals nothing. Rick Weaver, Lou Prickmer, and Henry Barrow back at the Orange Bowl. 1:38 left to play in the first quarter. The Dolphins lead 7-0 following Bakken's missed field goal attempt. Miami puts the ball in play from our 20-yard line. Stowe splits left. Briscoe is the wide receiver near side. Morris and Zonka, the split backs behind Morrill. Morrill hands to Zonka. Sweep to the left behind Kuchenberg. Turns the corner. He's out to the 25 and out to the 28-yard line. Larry Zonka picking up good yardage behind Bob Kuchenberg. And the tackle made by rookie defensive right end Martin Emhoff, who's 6'6", 255, a rook from San Diego State for the Cardinals.
And Kuchenberg turned in one of those blocks that an offensive guard just loves, Ricky. Just about decapitated Norm Thompson out there.
It'll be a 2nd down and 2 as Zonk picks up 8 yards. Going in, as we said earlier, he needed 189 the remainder of the season to crack the 1,000-yard club again. Larry Brown and O.J. Simpson thus far have that distinction. Morris and Zonker, the splitbacks behind Morrill. Stowe splits left. Briscoe to the near side. Handoff on a counter. Mercury through the right side. He's got the first down across the 30, out to about the 31-yard line. Morris having a fantastic year. Larry Stallings, the left side linebacker, made the tackle on the play. Miller has not come back from being shaken up earlier. And Jim Hargrove, a 5-year man, number 60 from Howard Payne, is playing on the right side as far as the linebacker is concerned for St. Louis. That's a first down. Dolphins have the football at their 31-yard line. Morris and Zonka remain the running backs. Otto Stowe splits left, and Briscoe to the near side. Morrill, the quarterback, hands off to Mercury through the left side over left guard, and he gets up to about the 33-yard line, and that's all, before he is grabbed and wrestled to the turf. Tackle on the play made by Hargrove from his right side linebacker spot. It'll be a 2nd down coming up at 8 for Miami. The ball at the Dolphins' 33. For our Miami fans listening on WIOD, on Dial the Dolphins, our talk show tomorrow night at 8 o'clock on WIOD here in Miami. Our guest will be Howard Twilley, and our Dolphins Specialty Team Awards winner for this week. That's the end of the first quarter. Dolphin football action continues from the Orange Bowl with a score: our Dolphins 7, St. Louis nothing.
Larry Little runs a summer camp in Miami called the Gold Coast.
The Gold Coast was a dream of ours. A lot of fellas pitched in too. We just wanted a summer camp for kids from families that couldn't afford it. Most people don't want a handout, just a helping hand. You can help by writing volunteer, Washington, D.C., 20013. What we need, money can't buy. We need you, the National Center for Voluntary Action.
Preceding announcement by Big Larry Little was brought to you as a public service on behalf of the National Football League. And Larry Little's Dolphins have a 2nd down and 8. The ball up to 32, their own 32. We begin the second quarter.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Number 82, Otto Stowe, in his 2nd year out of Iowa State, and he has replaced Paul Warfield, and that's not an easy job.
That's exactly the point, though. They're deep and wide receivers, much in the manner of the Dallas Cowboys. Watch Stowe here. Norm Thompson, number 43, he was open. So was Marv Fleming, incidentally, from his tight end position. Pass was a little bit low in there, but Otto jumped down there and got it.
First down for the Miami Dolphins. They move now from the 48-yard line, their own 48. And here comes Mercury Morris. He's over the 50 to the 47-yard line, hit there by number 8, Larry Wilson.
Just to finish that story, the Miami sports scribe went to Shula and said, why start Morris? Why not let kick down gently? You know, let him start the game, take him out after a few plays, but do it as a token. Shula looked at the writer and said, my friend, I am not a token coach.
No, he is the winningest coach. Won his 100th game 2 weeks ago. But it's a good story, Howard. Second down and 5. From the 47. And the quick pitch out to the speedster. And Morris gets just about back. Well, maybe he gains a yard.
Norm Thompson made a good move again, Frank, from his defensive cornerback. Came up. I'm serious, man. You got to think twice when you come up to meet a guy that's running full speed. He's got a couple of friends out there in front of him that outweigh you about 30 or 40 pounds. He says, I'm going to go up here and get it over with.
All right, the 3 wide receiver offense comes in. Howard Quilley replaces the tight end, Marv Fleming. 81, top of your screen. Stowe will be in the slot. Out to the left goes Briscoe, number 86. Third down and 4. The ball at the 46-yard line of the Cardinals. The draw play to Morris. And Morris is nailed by former Dolphin John Richardson, number 71. And out trots Garo Yepremian, and he is going to have to kick a long one. He beat the Miami Dolphins early in the year, at least the margin of his 54-yard field goal, beat the Minnesota Vikings. And he will be kicking, I think, well, just mark it at the 54. Now, he's made one this year already. "54 yards away from 3 points for Miami. This will be Roger Worley. And Worley comes up 3 yards short of letting it go through the end zone. Stopped there by Larry Little. So the score remains the Dolphins 7, the Cardinals nothing, and we'll be back right after this.
Gillette makes a better double edge now than the one your father used. The smoothest edge we can put on a blade, but the smoothest shave we can put on your face. The Platinum Plus blade. And someday, Gillette will make even a better blade for your son. The more things change, the more they stay the same. We made the first blade, and we're still the first blade. Gillette. Platinum Plus.
Because PaperMate knows how you write, they put a pump in the PowerPoint pen. So even at odd angles, on the worst surfaces, the PaperMate pumps ink to the point, automatically as you write. So no matter where or what you have to write on, the PaperMate PowerPoint keeps on writing smoothly, even when you wish it wouldn't. The PaperMate PowerPoint, the pen that pumps the ink. Put a PaperMate gift set in someone's stocking this Christmas.
12 minutes and 16 seconds remain in the half. The Miami Dolphins out in front of the St. Louis Cardinals, 7-0. Garo Yepremian has just missed on a 54-yard field goal attempt. This is the Cardinals quarterback, Jerry Cosell. In motion goes Mel Gray. The toss goes out to Donnie Anderson. He can pass. And watch out. And Mel Gray, the speedster, crosses the 50, out of bounds at the 49, driven out of bounds by Jake Scott.
What a pest that little fella can be. He went to Missouri, as most of you know. Dan Devine, who was then coaching at the University of Missouri, found him at a Santa Rosa high school where he was a sprint star. Let's look at it again. That was well thrown, Howard. That was right in there. Donnie threw that one on a run. Left-handed. What about, excuse me? Where did he find him? Little Santa Rosa High School. Knew he played football. Saw him also in a track meet. Knew he wanted him at Missouri.
He gains 34 to Miami's 49-yard line. And this is Donnie Anderson, the running back. Picking up one, maybe two, met by Nick Bonacani, number 85.
There's Dandy's favorite, Larry Wilson.
I told him one time, I said, Larry, only D.N. could love a face like yours. I don't think he loved it, but he's got a lovely wife, D.N., and 3 kids. Lives on a little farm outside of St. Louis. He's quite a fella. Really do respect him.
All right, the Cardinals pick up 3. It'll be second down and 7. The ball at the 46. Cosell going out to Mel Gray. And he's met there by number 25, Tim Foley, at the 41-yard line, a gain of 4.
That's one of the guys you don't hear about. Cornerback Tim Foley. The other cornerback, 45, Curtis Johnson. As Frank perhaps implied earlier, we had a long session yesterday with number 85, Nick Bonacani. Went over every single man on the Miami roster with him, offense and defense, and he talked about the extraordinary improvement in the cornerbacks. The way they've learned to come up and hit hard, so that nobody can turn the corner against them, the way they've learned to cover people.
3rd and 3 from the 42. Dick Anderson, and he can turn on the excitement.
I'll tell you, he's too much.
Finally stopped by Walker Gillette. That pass thrown behind.
He is always where the football is.
What did Dick Anderson intercepted the pass when they had like 13 blocks on it, and he ran it for a good 5 or 6 minutes, it seemed like one time?
It's Baltimore in the playoffs.
That's right. That was the biggie.
That ball looked to be tipped. I really don't know for sure. Possibly was tipped in there by number 83. Didn't hurt her. But look at him go. He's looking for some open room. He was finally caught up with
Walker Gillette.
Right, 84. Attaboy, Frank. Thanks.
You're welcome. And now from the 48-yard line, here comes the big man, Zonka. Just back to the line of scrimmage. Mark Arneson is there, number 57, along with 75, Bob Rowe.
You mentioned Arneson on a tackle earlier. He is a rookie. We saw him in the All-Star game out of Arizona. Don Shinnick, his coach, who coaches the linebackers for the Cardinals, says that he has the capacity to be up there with the likes of Curtis and Butkus and Lanier. And we'll develop perhaps more on that later if he figures in the contest. I'll tell you why he makes that judgment.
All right, second down now and 9. The ball just short of the 50-yard mark. Earl Morrow tossing out to Mercury Morris. Zonka gets the block. Morris down to the 45. Stopped there by Norm Thompson, number 43, coming up from the right corner.
And Arneson, 57, was in there again.
It'll be 3rd down and 3. And NCAA college football continues this Saturday with an exciting doubleheader. At 12:30 Eastern Standard Time, it's the traditional Army-Navy Classic. Then at 4 Eastern Time, the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame take on number 1 ranked USC. And they hope to continue their unbeaten season. Do like to talk about them. Don't miss this exciting college football doubleheader this Saturday on ABC. And right now, the Dolphins from the 45-yard line of the Cardinals on 3rd and 3. Morrow trying to go out to Morris, incomplete. And I would suppose that little Garrow, your Permian, will have another shot from about 2 yards closer, probably about the 49-yard line of Miami, or a 51-yard field goal attempt.
I suppose he will. The point Shinnick was making, Frank, I'd like your judgment on this, having played with so great a one as Huff, and yours, Don, having played with Jordan. Well, we'll have to watch the kick first.
I can hardly wait to give you my opinion.
Left-footed. In 1966, he one time kicked 6 of them in one game. Number 52 in his block. And Larry Wilson.
He's picked him up and gone before. Wait a minute.
Garrow ended up with the football. It, of course, does not matter. But Larry Wilson raced in, and I believe number 31, who was just activated today, Chuck Beatty.
That's right.
Made the block
from the Steelers, Gibb.
All right, now the Cardinals have their break.
Let's see. It appeared to be, well, it's not too low either. That was just a kid. Who is that? Who is that guy? Number 75, Bob Rowe. I think that's the 4th field goal he's blocked this year.
So a big break for the Cardinals. They trail 7-0. We'll be back after this.
Any good news, Julius? Mark IV. I see but one. Verily, such stuff as dreams are made of. Mark IV. Ah, thy cigar. What a noble thing it is. Tell me, hast thou stuck it rich?
20 cents.
Noble!
Friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me thy box. Take this 4-pack for thy chosen pocket.
There are still some good things. Mark 4.
A noble cigar.
Right now is the time for winter tires. And at your Goodyear service store or participating dealer, you can get Goodyear Sure Grip winter tires with 192 deep, rugged cleats to give a big grip at this low price. Goodyear, America's best-selling winter tires.
Bob Rowe just blocked a Miami field goal attempt for 51 yards. The Cardinals with their first major turnover. 1st and 10, they move at Miami's 35-yard mark. The play fake by Gary Cosell. And oh, is he nailed by Dan Herder. Dan Herder. The second-year man out of Central College in Iowa. And he is something else.
He has become some story. Incidentally, Dandy, you're absolutely right when you talked about Bob Rowe. Seems to be having his best year as a Cardinal, and this is 6th year. He blocked 3 field goals in one game against the Baltimore Colts, the opening game of the year, when the Cardinals pulled a surprise by defeating the Colts, who were then considered still to be one of the strongest teams in the league.
I believe the Lions said he blocked 2 of them with his hands and 1 of them with his head.
With the helmet.
And on 2nd down and 17, we have the prevent defense for the Dolphins, and they come with the blitz with a 3-man front 4. Oh, in and out of the hands of Johnny Rowland.
A lot of open territory, too, had he been able to corral it.
He ordinarily is a very good receiver. I believe he could have had that one. That was a little high, but it wasn't that high.
All right, it'll be 3rd down now and 17. 8 minutes, 11 seconds remaining in the half. Again, Miami out in front, 7-0. Jim Kick went in from 2 yards out. That in the first quarter. The Dolphins have missed 2 field goal attempts, one of 54 and one of 51. On 3rd and 17, the Dolphins with their 3-man rush, 3 big men. They have brought Matheson, 53, in the extra linebacker. Mel Gray motions left. Out to Donnie Anderson. He can't hold on to it.
That's another one looked like he was in there. Say, for a dentist, he's throwing pretty well tonight.
Well, I'll tell you, they may go for the field goal now, and this would have to be a very long one by Jim Bakken, who was once perhaps the most consistent of all place kickers in the league. Oddly, as we look at Anderson isolated, oddly, Bakken this year has been having the troubles that have afflicted other place kickers. Look at him now. Ready for the reception, the ball right in the gut now. But Bakken this year, he's already missed a 27-yarder tonight, has been less effective between the 20 and 30, Frank, than between the 40 and 50, where he's got 4 out of 6.
And so Bakken is going to have time to think about it. St. Louis taking a timeout. And we'll be back in the Orange Bowl after this. Well, that happens every so often, particularly when you make as many changes as the Cardinals have been forced to this year. They did not have the right people in the right places. But this will be Bakken's attempt from 49 yards away. Good. And it's good. Jim Bakken from 49 yards out.
Just as we were saying, Gifford, he can kick him from 50, but he can't from 27.
Jim Bakken puts the Cardinals on the scoreboard. Take a lighthearted look at current events as seen from Humus, Mort Saul, Stan Freeberg, and Bob and Ray's irreverent eyes on Comedy News and ABC Late Night Comedy Special. And that's tomorrow night at 11:30, 10:30 Central Time, and of course right here on ABC.
Well, as we await the kickoff, Giff, the Miami fans are strangely quiescent because their team seems to be
Wait a minute.
slumbering
No,
tonight.
they're just quiet. They're not making much noise.
All right, we'll put it that way, Dan DeRue.
Thank you.
In any event, this is going to be Don's problem, Shula's problem, to keep this team up and alive and going. A supposedly weak St. Louis team giving them, at this point, a good game of it at 7-3.
And we have 7:59 remaining in the half. Jim Bakken kicks. Charlie Lee, in and out of the hands, touchback. And so far, the Cardinals, even though Miami has had most of the possession time, the Cardinals have battled the Miami Dolphins to that 7-3. And this This Cardinal team is a good football team. They have a lot of speed. They have just been besieged with injuries. They're catching a lot of trouble at home. People have started shuffle the card fan clubs.
Stick an ad out in the paper.
That really helps the football team.
Gives you a lot of support.
Really. 1st and 10 from the 20. Both backs coming out of the backfield. This is Briscoe. Nailed there by Larry Stalling, 67.
Don, I don't have the stats before me, but hasn't Earl been throwing a lot tonight? Remember, Miami has the leading ground game in the National Football League. They've been averaging over 200 yards a game on the ground, and it seems to me Earl's been throwing a lot against this club.
I think you're right. He's thrown 8 times. That's not an awful lot for one quarter, but it appears that he is. Yeah, that Briscoe's been a fine addition to this ball club, too, Howard. I'd like to hear you get into that one in a little while.
On 2nd down and 2, and big hole. There he is. Jim kick.
Look at old Sundance go.
Cut his hair. Cut his hair, Don. Looked at Morris, said his is short. He's got the starting role.
Hey, look at it. Had a good blocks up there by that front four we've been talking about. Look at that effort on Kick's part to gain an extra yard. Keep that balance, put one hand down, kept going. Got another good block by Zonka there in the middle, too. These guys work very well together.
1st down, the ball at the 37-yard line. 6 minutes, 43 seconds remain in the half. And kick again. This time, Larry Stallings holds on to trip kick up just at the line of scrimmage. This program is being brought to you as an ABC Sports exclusive. Right now, let's pause 5 seconds to allow our local stations to identify themselves. The Miami Dolphins making a couple of changes. Jim Mandich has come in at tight end, 88. In at offensive left tackle, number 79, is Wayne Moore, as Doug Cruzan has gone to the bench. It's 2nd down and 9. Dick with about a yard gain. The screen goes to Briscoe, and he can throw it also. That's 3 for 3 for him.
That's a pretty play. I like it. That's fun. I heard about Briscoe being able to throw. He played quarterback, as most of you know, in the American Football League.
And Otto Stowe is the receiver with a 26-yard gain.
There's a lateral out to Briscoe. He sets the throw, and you can tell he's done it before. Otto Stowe is there. That was not 2 forward passes, as you possibly noticed that the ball from Earl Morrall to Briscoe was thrown laterally, so that would be termed as a lateral than the other forward pass. There's only 1 forward pass per play.
Miami out in front, 7-3. Clock shows 5:48. Zonka gets the draw call, and he just bulls his way for about a yard and a half. Dolphins, of course, got out in front on a 2-yard touchdown run by Jim Kick. They've dominated the game, at least in terms of time of possession. And then the Cardinals came back to make it 7-3, a 49-yard field goal by Jim Bakken. And that's our story with 5:24, clock moving, remaining in the half.
Andy, you said talk about Briscoe. You just saw part of his value. That, incidentally, is the 3rd pass he's thrown this year, all complete.
Earl Morrall, who filled in 68, as most football fans most certainly will recall, took Don Shula's Baltimore Colts to the Super Bowl. Here, he's trying it again for Miami. It's in and out of the hands of Otto Stowe. Spider-Man, drafted number 1 in 1956 by the 49ers. He played at Pittsburgh. He was at Detroit. He was with the Giants. He was with Baltimore. And this is his 5th club.
Best backup quarterback in football. He can do it.
This young man shows a lot of promise, Howard. Otto Stowe.
He does. You measure a team not just... You build a team with your front 4 on defense and the quarterback who can do the job on offense. But then you lose the great young quarterback, Greasy. You lose Warfield. When you've got Stowe and Twilley and Briscoe, that shows the depth you need to win a championship.
And they're all 3 in now on 3rd down and 7. Marv Fleming, the tight end, coming out on the sure pass. Oh, and Larry Wilson. Oh, wait a minute. Flag goes down. Mark Arneson and Larry Wilson, I believe, both made contact. Pushing, pass interference, 1st down, Miami. 4 minutes, 54 seconds. Ball marked now at the 27-yard line. Cardinal secondary, Thompson 43, Worley 22, Wilson 8, Miller Farr 20. Both wide receivers now go out to the right for Miami. Morrow falls down on the play fake, and he's immediately buried there. Richardson, 71, was there, along with 75, Bob Rowe, and
that happens. All you can say is just really is embarrassing. It looked like, let's see, it looks like he trips over somebody's foot. Possibly his own. Yep. I say, well,
nobody happened to you, John?
Right. Yeah, it happened to me way too often, but you see he's faking his knockout. He comes back, trips over his own feet, falls down, and usually you have a hard time getting up. For some reason, you try to get up in a hurry, and you just can't do it. You know, after 17 years, you're going to trip and stumble every now and then.
All right, it'll be second down now and 18. The receivers are Briscoe. He goes to the right, Stows out to the left. The tight end, Mandich, is in now, the third-year man out of Michigan, replacing Marv Fleming. In there. Briscoe. Marlon Briscoe. He's got the first down. He's inside the 15.
I was talking about a while ago, this guy does have a lot of speed, too. And when they picked him up, that was one of the reasons. He can't move. He's just going down. He's working on Miller Farr, number 20. Comes through on the inside. That's a well-thrown football, by the way. Right in the seams. That's Stallings, number 67. But look at him when he gets it. He's got his eye moving for that defensive back.
Howard, not to put you on the spot, but how did he get here? Number 86. He led the AFC in 1970 at Buffalo.
You figure it out.
Played out his option, didn't he? Up in,
No, he didn't. He was traded. It was another of Shula's great deals.
And he gives the Dolphins a 1st and 10 at the 13.
As a matter of fact, yesterday, Frank and I asked Nick Bonacani what happened with Briscoe. We thought Shula got him down here to play ahead of Twilly because he's faster than Howard. And Nick said, you wouldn't believe Twilly. He's done everything. He's even running fly patterns. He's having an incredible year, and he just beat Marlin out. But what a guy to have on the bench in Briscoe. It's the very depth that we were just talking about, and including having a Morrow behind Greasy.
He goes out to the right, Stowe out to the left, second down and 8. The ball marked right at the 10-yard line. Oh, the blitz is on, and zeroing in on Earl Morrow is Roger Worley and Mark Arneson, the full blitz for the Cardinals.
Worley is the free safety. That is Worley. You see number 78 in there first. And a whole bunch of them get around it. I have to give a lot of them credit for that one.
You've been under those a few times, Don. It really gets noisy, doesn't it?
By the way, you know what Briscoe's comment was when he was traded to Miami? Sandy said, I've always wanted to be on Monday Night Football.
All right, third down now and 15. The ball marked at the 13. Briscoe out to the right, Stowe out to the left. Going deep for Briscoe, and this time covering Briscoe well was number 20, Miller Farr, brother of Mel Farr. Fine brother act in the National Football League.
Interesting the way Shula uses Mandich in these situations, Frank, because obviously Shula considers him a better receiver than Fleming, who's known for his blocking, but has not been known in recent years for his receiving.
So Garo Yepremian comes on, and this man has not missed all of last year from inside the 30, nor has he this year. 14 of 24 overall, 15 of 25. You can almost say it's automatic when it's inside the 30 for Garo Yepremian. As the Dolphins extend their lead over the Cardinals to 10-3.
All right, this one has turned out to be a real good game. That's the way it usually is on Monday Night Football. Next week, we've got a terribly critical game for both teams. The San Francisco 49ers, in the wake of their stunning upset of the Dallas Cowboys on Thanksgiving Day, now leading in the Western Division of the NFC, against the Los Angeles Rams, who've suddenly become perhaps the most disappointing team in the National Football Conference, being upset by New Orleans yesterday, and within the last 3 weeks having lost to two overwhelming underdogs, New Orleans and Denver. So it's a must-win game for the Rams. And, of course, Atlanta is right in there, too. A big one next Monday night.
Underway. This will go to Mel Gray in the end zone. And keep in mind, this man has run... Oh, and the fake reverse this time by Mel Gray. Down he goes. Great defensive play there by number 51 of the Dolphins. All the way down there is Larry Ball. 18-yard return, and they've been using a lot of reverses on kickoffs this year. That time, the Cardinals tried to fake it. It didn't fool anyone.
And Larry Ball is a big, good-looking rookie from Louisville. He's 6'6", 225, and he can hit. Let's take a look at the time of possession, which I think tells an awful lot about Miami's dominance, but it's not the kind of dominance that you'd expect in the score. 20 minutes in effect to 8 minutes, more than double the time of possession, and yet it's a 10-3 ball game.
And there is the 2-minute warning. Gary Quazzo going over to discuss things with Bob Holloway, and we'll be back at the Orange Bowl of Miami right after this message. Gary Quazzo comes back into the huddle. He's been talking with head coach Bob Holloway. Gary Quazzo, who once played for head coach Don Shula. In fact, he's been around. He played for Bud Grant up at Minnesota. And he had a very satisfying win this year over the Minnesota Vikings.
Also played for Tom Fears at New Orleans when Kilmer beat him out of the job.
All right, he has his job cut out for him. The Dolphins leading the Cardinals 10-3. The ball resting at the 13-yard mark. 2 minutes left in the first half. Melgray complete at the 35. Little Melgray, can he fly? He's only 5'9", 170 pounds, as he's dropped in the arms of number 13, Jake Scott. And a couple of years ago, I think it was 1970, the Big 8 track meet, this little man won the 100, the 220, the long jump, and was second in the triple jump.
Outside of that, he wasn't in action.
Played in the band at halftime.
Took the tickets. Quazzo uses another timeout. Comes over to talk to Bob Holloway and Ed Hughes, a couple of former teammates of mine. That's Ed Hughes, the former head coach of the Houston Oilers. And across the field, the strategy continues. Holloway with Quazzo. You know, in 1958, Don and Howard, I got a call from a youngster at Ridgefield High School in Ridgefield, New Jersey. I'd hurt my knee playing, and the youngster wanted to know what I did to get back in 3 weeks. Well, I had to tell him about Doc Sweeney, of course, but that youngster was Gary Quazzo, who went to high school in Ridgefield.
He'd hurt his knee or something, hadn't he?
He'd hurt his knee and wanted to know maybe if we had a little secret.
Frank, I see Freddie Height come in, number 88, and Donnie Anderson go out. The coaches mentioned they might go into a double wing set with only one running back. Let's see if they use that particular set this time. Try to get as many receivers as they can out and flood the zones. Another thing you might notice in the 2-minute drill, you see Quazzo explaining the pass pattern there, is these receivers are told to run their patterns approximately 5 yards deeper than they ordinarily do because everybody's going to be dropping back defending against the pass.
You called it too, Don. It is the double wing. Moore, top of your screen, now coming in motion. And now Quazzo trips.
Well, now, if he tripped over his foot, it's going to be like father, like son there.
Quazzo tripping, pulling away from the center.
I think more important, Frank, they're going to have to use that third timeout, or they're going to line up and have to go again. Let's see what they're going to do. They're not going to call timeout, I don't believe.
When the receivers get back, you'll see the official start the clock. There it is, 1:45 remaining in the half. And this time, they get it off quickly and in and out of the hands and almost picked off there by number 57, Mike Colon.
Now, that one wasn't even very well thrown for a dentist because it was about 3 or 4 yards behind him. They're obviously trying to get the ball to the outside so they can stop the clock.
Ed Colon is, they say, the hardest hitter on the team. He's a very religious fellow. Seems much too kindly to play football. He's out of Auburn University. But once on the field, Bonacani says he becomes unbelievable. They call him Captain Crunch, a nickname he dislikes heartily.
Sounds like a cereal. Third down and 16. Clock shows 1:39. The Cardinals trailing 10-3. The draw play now to Donnie Anderson. The Cardinals go back to their set offense. Out to the 35, mark it at the 36. Manny Fernandez made the stop, number 75.
Well, we're going to get a chance to see the Miami Dolphins 2-minute offense in effect here tonight. They have plenty of time to put some more points on the board.
Yeah, I had suspected if Quazzo had come up with another quick completion after the throw to Gray, we might see the famed Miami Dolphins 53 defense, where Bob Matheson, number 53, comes in. And We've just had a word asking us who called timeout.
Miami, obviously, wanting to get possession
Had to do
of
it.
the football.
St. Louis is out.
They have both now used 2 timeouts. 1:27 on the clock, and dropping deep is Jake Scott, number 13, and Dick Anderson, number 40. 40 up close is Anderson, deep is Scott. Anderson, the left-footed kicker, and he can get it up there. Scott risking it at the 15. Fumble. The Cardinals have the ball.
I love it. I love it.
Well, he could not have advanced had not Scott had possession, but he did have possession. He fumbled the ball and is marked at the 8-yard line. 1 minute and 11-second show on the clock.
Monday Night Football. It could only happen here, Don.
Let's see what happens to him, because here's Scott. There's a tackle right there, number 31. He's just been activated. I don't know who that is.
That's Chuck Beatty.
Beatty again. Yeah, Beatty's around a lot. He's around that ball tonight.
He wants to play. All right. Bobby Moore goes out to the left. Out to the right comes Mel Gray. First and goal for the Cardinals. They're at the 8-yard line. Donnie Anderson fumbles. And this time it's picked off by Stanfield.
I tell you. Well, that could have really turned it around right there. If they could have brought that one in there, we could have been in a big upset. Let's see. I didn't see Donnie get hit. He's got the ball. He never did get a good exchange from Quazzo. Looked like he reached for it a little bit. That's Stanfield, number 84, who picks it up. He can advance it. And he almost fumbled. Should have lateral.
He was thinking about it, and that may be why he almost fumbled. But what a succession or even comedy of errors.
Clock moving. St. Louis now with 3 turnovers. Miami with 1. They have the lead, though. This is Zonka. He doesn't fumble. He didn't fumble at all last year until that critical point in the Super Bowl. Zonka picks up the first down. He moves out to the 27-yard line, and Miami uses a timeout. A lot of confidence in their offense as Earl Morrow moves over to talk to head coach Don Shula. There are the turnovers we mentioned. ABC Sports has an outstanding array of postseason football coming your way. On Monday night, December the 18th, it's the Liberty Bowl, Iowa State versus Georgia Tech from Memphis, Tennessee. Then on Christmas Day, the North-South game from right here in the Orange Bowl in Miami, Florida, followed by the Gator Bowl with Colorado meeting Auburn from Jacksonville, Florida on December the 30th. On New Year's Eve, it's the Sugar Bowl featuring Penn State and Oklahoma from New Orleans at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then on January the 6th, the Hula Bowl. An exciting lineup of postseason football right here on ABC.
That's right, Chris.
You stop that now.
Yes, we've been through that.
I was just sitting here thinking, what do you think that Don Shula could tell Earl Morrow that he hasn't told him over the past few years that he's been together? They go over here.
Earl,
huh?
Only thing he could tell him is, Earl, forget January 12, 1969.
Oh. He has to keep reminding him of that.
Probably told him to be careful.
Be careful.
How do you be careful, huh, Don?
You don't trip on your own feet.
This is kick. And kick over the 30 to about the 31-yard line. Working on the clock now. And quickly they line up.
Why do you think they haven't been using Morris that much tonight, Don?
I don't really know. Oh, that was in there.
Briscoe holds on.
And man, what a lick.
Oh, he took a shot.
Roger Worley may be down on that one because he took a heck of a lick from Briscoe. The ball was well thrown. The referee is going to call timeout. There's an injured player. Let's take a look at it. Marlon Briscoe, that ball is right in there. And look at Roger Worley, number 22. He's down. When the referee calls timeout for an injured player, that player has to leave the game for at least one play. It is not a charge timeout.
Now, 57, Mark Arneson, the rookie middle linebacker, was in on that play. So let's finish that story from the first quarter, Dandy. It's Don Shinnick's notion that if a middle linebacker makes 6 tackles unassisted and 6 assists in a ball game, he's done his job reasonably well. If he gets up to 8 in each department, he's been outstanding. And Shinnick says, I know this kid has greatness within him because against the Dallas Cowboys, the reigning champions, as you look at him, number 57, He had 10 individual tackles and 11 assists. He said, this kid is for real.
He is a good one, and I'm not trying to dispute that at all. There's one thing, from a quarterback standpoint, it's like the guy's going to make a lot of tackles. It's going to be one you're running at a lot. And that's always true with any rookie. This guy happens to be, he can measure up to what they're throwing at him, but you find a rookie in that defense, you're going to test him. Let's see what he can do. Roger appears to be okay. You see him walking up there on the sideline. He really did take a good lick there.
Probably kind of wondering where he was for a while, but he's all right. Replacing Worley in that secondary with 13 seconds remaining in the half is number 31, Chuck Beatty, just activated tonight. He's been, as Don mentioned earlier, all over the field on the special teams. Also in there in the pass prevent defense is number 49 for the Cardinals, Dale Hackbart. And Mandich is in offensively for the Dolphins. First and 10 from the Dolphins, 48. Briscoe again, Marlon Briscoe.
He's throwing that ball well, Frank. That ball was well timed. It appears that they're out of time.
The Dolphins had no more timeouts, Don.
That's right.
You saw the referee shake his head. The time has run out.
Now that's that receiver. Briscoe, if he could have at all gotten out of bounds, that would have given him almost a sure field goal.
And that's the story at halftime. The undefeated Miami Dolphins out in front of the Cardinals 10-3. Great highlight action coming up when we return to the Orange Bowl.
Well, they don't allow signs in the Orange Bowl, but there are those who would defy the edict, as you see before you, a greeting for the unholy triumvirate. And quickly, let's review the scoring that took place here in the first half at the Orange Bowl in the game between the unbeaten Miami Dolphins and the St. Louis Cardinals. The halftime score, Miami 10-3, and this is the way it happened. Jim Kick broke through on a 2-yard run that was really a lot more than that as you watch him in action again because he powered his own way. Larry Zonka got a crunching block in there, but after that it was all Kick and right into the midriff of the defender. Kick in for the score. You premium the extra point, 7-0 Miami. In the second quarter, Jim Bakken with a 49-yard field goal made it 7-3 Miami, and then you premium with a 25-yard field goal made it 10-3 Miami. Which leads us up to our halftime highlights. We would like to show for you Giant fans in New York some of that game. Time will not permit it, and it was a one-sided game with no immediate impact upon the standings. But our congratulations to the Giants for setting a scoring record for that club, 62-10 over the Philadelphia Eagles. Brown is beautiful. That could only be whom you think it is. Number 43, Larry Brown. The Redskins are playing the Pack at home. We're midway in the second quarter, and that's Larry Brown as he acrobats his way in for a touchdown, a 2-yard run, and it's a 7-3 lead for Washington. We've got about 2 minutes left in the half. Little more than that. That's Charlie Haraway. They call him a third guard. He's a running back, but what a blocker. This time he moves for 24 yards and sets this play up late in the half. It's Billy Kilman, number 17. To the tight end, Jerry Smith. What a money player he is. Touchdown, 14-3 Redskins. Moving ahead to the third quarter, Jerry Taggy, number 17, is in. The young man who grew up in Green Bay, but went to the University of Nebraska. What a pitch to Dave Davis. As you saw, he had touchdown written all over that throw, but Davis couldn't handle it. Now in the fourth quarter, on the very third play, the score 14-6 Washington. Taggy throwing 15 yards downfield. This time, Davis plays Potsy with it, but holds on to it, and it's a 15-yard gain for the Pack. That sets up the very next play. Taggy handing off to MacArthur Lane. He busts through. Touchdown. Forget the fumble. The ball was dead. Touchdown. 14-13 the Redskins at this point. This Redskin team, as you know, is an opportunistic team that capitalizes on scoring opportunities. Billy Kilmer to Charlie Tell. Touchdown. Washington goes on to win a very big one from the Pack, 21-16.
And that was the action yesterday as 19 out of 26 teams continue to be alive for playoff hopes. Of course, the Miami Dolphins have clinched their Eastern Division of the American Football Conference. but they could be in a little bit of trouble tonight against the Cardinals. There is the halftime score.
The deep men will be speedsters Bobby Moore and Mel Gray. Both of them are flyers. And Gray is off to the far side, and Moore down the near side. 10-3, Dolphins out in front. Here is the whistle. Yepremian forward, gets the toe into it. He gets it high, and it's going to be deep, about 2 yards deep, taken by Gray. He'll run it out. 5-10 to the near side. 15 to the 20. He is cracked. Really tripped up across the 20-yard line by Curtis Johnson. He went flying through the air and landed up at about the 23-yard line, and so it'll be about a 24, 25-yard return. Cardinals will start from their 22-yard line is where they put it down. Dolphins with a 10-3 lead, touchdown by kick, field goal by Yepremian, and a 49-yard field goal by Bakken, the only score for the Cardinals. Gary Quazzo remains the quarterback. Donnie Anderson, Johnny Rowland are the I formation backs. Mel Gray and Bobby Moore, the wide receivers. Gray split to the far side, Moore to the near side. Cardinals from their 22, moving from our left to our right for this third quarter. Here is Quazzo, play fake dropping. He's being rushed. He fires the pass. It is complete to Smith, the tight end, off a screen, and he gets across the 30, out across the 35, and knocked down at the 37-yard line before the tackle is made by Dick Anderson, the Dolphins' strong safety. A 15-yard pickup as Quazzo hits his tight end, Jackie Smith, on the second pass reception of the evening for Smith, and the Cardinals have a first down at their 37-yard line. We have just started this third quarter. Dolphins next week on the road again for their final 2 road games of the regular season. New England at Foxborough next Sunday, 12:50 on these stations, airtime, and then the following week from Yankee Stadium against the powerful Giants. Here's the handoff on the counter, going to Donnie Anderson, coming across the right side, and he gets out to about the 39 before he's tripped up by Bob Matheson on the Dolphins' defense. A gain of 2, it'll be a second down and 8. Second down and 8 for the white-clad Cardinals. Their tie this year was against the Philadelphia Eagles in a 6-6 ball game in which 4 field goals were kicked.
Rick, the Dolphins came out in that 53 defense, and they're staying right in it throughout this entire series. They've been sticking right with it.
All right, Gray splits far side. To the near side is Bobby Moore. Rowland and Anderson, the split backs. Quazzo drops to throw, swings a pass out. It is thrown into the ground behind Rowland as a good rush was put on Quazzo that time. He got the ball off in time to get rid of it, but he was dumped and the pass fell to the ground incomplete. That'll bring up a third down and 8 situation for St. Louis. The ball at their 39-yard line.
And Rick, that was a good example of how effective Bob Matheson can be on that 53 defense. Bob Matheson came in and put so much pressure on Quazzo that he had to get rid of that ball.
Lloyd Mumford now comes in as the defensive back, the extra defensive back in the Dolphins' defensive alignment. And out of the ball game comes Nick Bonaconte. On a third down and 8 situation for St. Louis at their 39. They got as far as the Dolphins' 8 on a fumble recovery that went out of bounds, and then the Dolphins took the ball right back from them, prevented a touchdown score. Here's a play fake by Quazzo. He drops deep. He fires. It is overthrown and almost intercepted. The receiver was cutting inside, and he was throwing to the sidelines. The pass was intended for Mel Gray, and he threw it high, and several of the Dolphins had a better shot at it than Gray because he was breaking the wrong way. So that brings up a punting situation. And Donnie Anderson will handle the kicking chores. Jake Scott, who has fielded 1 punt tonight, not too successfully, fumbled the ball, and that, as we just mentioned, gave the Cardinals the ball at the Dolphins' 8-yard line, but Stanfield got it right back on the next play. Anderson, with a 50-yard punting average in this ball game, has kicked once. The line of scrimmage, the Cardinal 39. He's standing back at about the 23. Dick Anderson is the shallow man. Jake Scott, the deep man, to field the punt. Donnie, the left-footed kidder, gets it up in the air. It's grabbed at the 25 by Scott. He is hit, bounces off a tackler, and is really smacked at the 30-yard line. A 5-yard return, and several Cardinals appeared to hit after the whistle. No flag on the play. Conrad Dobler on the specialty teams for St. Louis. Their offensive left guard makes the tackle. A 44-yard kick by Anderson, a 6-yard return. There's a timeout on the field. Dolphin football action continues from the Orange Bowl with the score. Our Dolphins 10, the Cards 3. Rick Weaver back at the Orange Bowl. Morrill, the quarterback. Morris and Zonka, the I-backs behind Earl. And Otto Stowe and Marlon Briscoe, the wide receivers. Stowe split near side, Briscoe to the far side. Dolphins from our 31. Here's the handoff, and Zonka busts the middle and gets about a yard to the 32. Larry Stallings from his linebacker spot, the 10-year veteran from Georgia Tech, along with former Dolphin defensive tackle John Richardson in on the stop. Gain of a yard. It'll be second down and 9 for Miami. Dolphins ball from our 32-yard line. 12 minutes and 27 seconds to go in this third quarter. We were correct. At least our spotter was. Al Book, and the last man who touched that ball in the first half for the Cardinals as it went out of bounds at the Dolphin 8-yard line off Scott's fumble. It was Hackbart. Ball at the Dolphin 32, second down and 9. Waiting for the snap from center with Zonka and Morris in the eye. Handoff goes to Mercury. Bounces off a tackler inside. Cuts outside. He is being thrown out of bounds on the far side of the field at the 33-yard line. And grabbing him by one arm was Larry Wilson, and refusing to let go. And he just whipped him around and tossed him out of bounds. Literally and physically. A gain of a yard on the play. And that'll bring up a third down and 8. Here comes Kick into the ball game.
And Rick, I'll tell you, for somebody to toss Morris around like that, that's no easy feat, because pound for pound, I think this is probably one of the strongest football players on the Dolphin team, Mercury Morris.
Mercury bench presses somewhere in the vicinity of 390 pounds, and for a 190-pound athlete, that is sensational. Kick is in. Zonka remains in, so they are the running backs. And Briscoe and Stowe split off the near side. Third down and 8. Dolphins from their 33-yard line, moving from our right to our left. Morrill drops to throw. Has good protection. Fires over the middle. Complete the kick at the 40. He's up to the 44, and he's got the first down. Jim Kick, circling out of the backfield, was the man as Morrill hustled that ball out of there. Miller Farr, his left cornerback spot. Middle linebacker Mark Arneson made the tackle on the play, and the Dolphins have a first down at the Miami 44-yard line as Morrill hits Jim Kick for the first down pickup. 11 minutes, 30 seconds to go in period number 3. The Dolphins lead just by a 10-3 margin. Briscoe and Stowe split to the near side. Kick and Zonka are the I-backs, and behind Earl Morrill. Dolphins first down from our 44. Here's the handoff going to Kick. He finds a hole on the right side. 50, 45, 40 inside the 40-yard line. Goes Zonka. It was Larry Zonka and not Kick, and he really squirted through a hole on that right side with a great block from Jim Kick as Morrill, a deceptive handoff, great faking, rolled to his right, handed off to Zonka, and he busted through the right side.
And I'll tell you, Rick, that looked like our offensive line again, giving the back some holes.
First down for the Dolphins at the Cardinals' 38-yard line as Larry Zonka rips off a big gain. He and Kick remain the I-backs. First down at the Cardinals' 38. Here's the handoff to Kick this time. He finds a small opening in the middle, and it closes in a hurry as it gets only a yard to the 37. Bob Rowe, defensive tackle, makes the stop on the play for St. Louis along with John Richardson, the two tackles. And Jim Mandich comes into the Dolphin lineup.
Kick just missed the hole on that play, Rick. That's supposed to be over the left guard, over Kuchenberg, and it closed up just a little bit on him, and he decided to go to the right and ran right into the horde, right into the pack.
Okay, the Dolphins now have a second down and 9 at the St. Louis 37-yard line, and they have been tough and close tonight. The Dolphins have not been able to put it together, a sustained drive for a touchdown. Here is Morrill dropping back to throw, dropping deep. Now steps in the pocket, firing deep. Down here is Stowe. He's got a touchdown, Dolphins. Stowe with a sensational grab right at the goal line. He caught the ball, fell backwards into the end zone as Morrill lofted it and hit him right on the numbers. Norm Thompson, the cornerback on the right side, was beaten on the play as Otto Stowe comes up with his first touchdown. And the Dolphins, Earl Morrill gets his 6th touchdown pass of the season. Yepremian in to try the point from placement with Morrill holding. Dolphins now move out to a 16-3 lead. Yepremian can make it 17. Snap, set down. The kick is up. It's good. There's a flag on the play, and let's see what this is about. There's a flag down on the play. The Dolphins, Gary Yepremian did convert. The penalty was against St. Louis for offside, so the play goes. The extra point counts. 9:54 to go in this third quarter. Dolphin football action continues from the Orange Bowl with a score: Dolphins 17, St. Louis 3. Rick Weaver at the Orange Bowl. That drive, 69 yards, 6 plays, 37-yard TD pass from Morrill to Stowe. The big play, Zonka's 18-yard run. Here is Yepremian's kickoff. It is grabbed by Bobby Moore at the goal line, out to the 5, to the 10, the 15, to the 20, and he is knocked down at the 25-yard line. The rookie from Oregon a 25-yard kick off return by Moore, and the Cardinals will try to get something started as Charlie Lee on the Dolphins specialty team made the tackle. Larry Ball has thus far had 2 real good sticks tonight. He about took Gray's head off near the end of the second quarter there on a kickoff return, the big youngster from Louisville University. All right, Cosell brings his ball club out. First down, Cardinals from the 25. The Dolphins now with a 14-point lead, 17-3. Moore and Gray. Now Gray goes in motion off to the far side. Here's Cosell, falls down again, and he's tossed for a loss back at the 18. As he was going back to throw, he appeared to trip and fall down, and Henry does Morrill. This happened to Morrill, and it happened to Cosell earlier in the ball game in the second quarter. Now it's happened again, right in about the same area out there.
Rick, we've looked at that area pretty closely, and we can see nothing unusual about it. However, it may possibly be that the turf is wet out there. That I can't tell from looking, but there's nothing on the field. None of the turf is sticking up out of place.
All right, the ball is back at the 19-yard line in Cardinal territory. A loss of 6. It'll be second down and 16 for St. Louis. Here's Gray in motion off to the far side again. Roland Anderson, the splitbacks behind Cosell. Gary drops to throw. He sets up, fires, and it is almost picked off. It was intended for Bobby Moore coming across the middle. The ball was thrown a little bit high, and the Dolphins' zone defense had a pass interception opportunity, but even they couldn't hold on to the football. It's an incompletion. Third down and 16 for the Cardinals. The ball at their 19. 8 minutes, 46 seconds to go in this third quarter. The Dolphins out in front by a score of 17-3. Donnie Anderson, Johnny Rowland, the running backs, as they have been all night long. Cardinals coming in with people chewed up, and they have had a lot of injuries, particularly in their offensive line. Bobby Moore splits to the far side, and Mel Gray, the other receiver, sets as a slot man left. Let's see if he comes in motion. Here he comes, back to the near side, trying to clear out his zone. Here is Cosell dropping back on third down and long yardage. Pumps, fires a flare pass to the far side. It is caught by Johnny Rowland, and he has stacked up for practically no gain on the play. He might have gotten a yard or two across the 20, but the Dolphins' defense just swarmed all over him. Mike Colon and Tim Foley, along with Curtis Johnson, coverage on the play, and they get just 2 yards on the pass completion. So the Dolphin defense stops the Cardinals again, and Donnie Anderson will punt on fourth down. Jake Scott goes back as the deep man, and Dick Anderson will be the shallow man with 8 minutes and 12 seconds left to play in the third quarter. Don't forget the Rolling Home Show following our broadcast on WIOD here in Miami this evening, and that'll be followed by the Scoreboard Show. Line of scrimmage, the Cardinal 21. Anderson stands at the 5. Waiting for the snap. Here it is, a good snap. One-man rush. Low trajectory kick grabbed by Anderson on the run. He fumbles a ball at the 50, and the Cardinals, I believe, recover at the 47-yard line, their own 47.
Rick, that's one of the hardest balls in the world to catch. He kicked that ball end over end, and as it came down, no one should have touched it because there's no way that you can really get your eye on the ball and control it.
Fred Hyatt came up with the fumble recovery. He is a reserve wide receiver. And so the Cardinals come out of that one smelling like the proverbial rose. 27-yard punt, and Mel Gray, Fred Hyatt, Bobby Moore. They've got 3 wide receivers in there, and Johnny Rowland is the only running back. First down, Cardinals from their 47 off the fumble recovery on the punt. Both and flags go down as the 2 wide receivers started in motion, and that's one of the worst mix-ups since I've seen since the great train wreck. Johnny Rowland and Gray and the other wide receiver went in motion. Everybody was going in every which direction, and flags went down all over the place.
Looked like Canadian football again, Rick.
Looked like a hockey game. Illegal motion against the Cardinals, and somebody obviously confused on that play. So they put the ball down, and it'll be the penalty will be declined by the Dolphins. They'll take the down, and there'll be a second down coming up from the 48-yard line in Cardinal territory. Moore splits to the far side. Gray comes to the near side. Johnny Rowland, they got 3 wide receivers in there. He's the only running back in behind Cosell. Now here comes Gray in motion to the far side. Back to throw. Here's Cosell. Here's the pass. And it is almost intercepted by the Dolphins' Mike Colon. It was a swing pass out to the far side of the field. Was intended for Mel Gray, who was the man in motion. And Colon, as the ball was juggled around by Gray, had an interception. Nobody could have caught him down the far sidelines, and he couldn't hold on to the ball. That ball was juggled around by both the receiver and the defensive man, and Colin had a wide open field.
And Rick, once again, it's just like we've seen out here for the entire night. The ball just seems to squirt out of these guys' hands as if it's got a coat of grease on it.
All right, a 3rd down and 10 for the Cardinals from their 48-yard line on the incompletion. Gray, as they ran the same play again, and Moore did not go in motion that time. Gray went in motion, just took the swing pass, bopped out of his hands, and Colin charging up the linebacker spot. Now here he goes again. Gray in motion to the far side. Back to throw. Plazo throwing deep up the far side. This time it is picked off by Curtis Johnson. 35, 40, 45 in Dolphin territory. And the Dolphins, Curtis Johnson comes up with a pass interception, his first of the season. And the Dolphins take the football back. And they put it down at the Miami 46. Mel Gray made the tackle on the play, and the Dolphins have excellent field position from our 46-yard line. There's Curtis Johnson from his right corner spot, picked that one off, and runs it back 11 yards. With 6 minutes, 50 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter. Jim Kick and Larry Zonka, the running backs. Otto Stowe and Marlon Briscoe, the wide receivers. Stowe splits near side, Briscoe to the far side. Morrill, the quarterback, hands off to Kick through the middle. He gets to the 50 to about the Cardinals' 49-yard line. On a 5-yard carry for Butch Cassidy. Don Brum, the defensive end for the Cardinals, makes the tackle on the play. And it'll be a 2nd down and 5. Dolphins, coming into this ball game, had a total of 14 pass interceptions on the season, and now they picked off a couple in tonight's ball game, so they have 16 unofficially. Otto Stowe splits left. He scored a touchdown. Briscoe to the far side. Here's a handoff. Kick through the middle again. With that little stop step, looking for the hole, and he bangs his way down to the Cardinal 46-yard line. That'll bring up a 3rd down and approximately 2 yards to go for a 1st down. Howard Twilley comes in. So does Jim Mendich as Briscoe goes out. And Otto Stowe goes out. Dolphins with the short yardage blocking unit up there. The ball at the Cardinal 46, a 3rd down and 2. 5 minutes, 42 seconds left to play in period number 3. The Dolphins out in front 17-3. The Cardinals only score coming in the 2nd quarter on a 49-yard field goal by Jim Bakken. Waiting for the snap is Earl Morrill. He's hands off to Kick, sweep to the right behind Little. He slips and falls down, and he gets no gain on the play. Never did get the corner turned on the far side of the field, and his leg appeared to go out from beneath him. Don Brum gets credit for the containment. Billy Lothridge, the punter, comes on. And the fans are wondering out loud, you can hear them in the background, why no field goal attempt. You don't want to get one blocked from this distance at this stage of the game and at this position on the field. So Don Shula, with just a 14-point lead here in the 3rd quarter, is sending in the punting unit and get the Cardinals back as deep as he can. Worley and Gray are the 2 deep men, and Lothridge will punt from the Dolphins' 39. All right, waiting for the snap, the line of scrimmage, the Cardinal 46. Here's Lothridge's punt. He gets off a booming spiral, bounces down at the 6, inside the 5, and down at the 3-yard line by the Dolphins' punt coverage team. Covering was Lloyd Mumford. He was the man who was down there. That ball hit at the 6-yard line and bounced straight up in the air and gave Mumford a chance to get under it and down it at the 3. So it's a 43-yard kick by Billy Lothridge, and the Cardinals now have their backs to the wall. We have a timeout. Dolphin football action continues from the Orange Bowl with the score, our Dolphins 17, the Cardinals 3. Rick Weaver back at the Orange Bowl. Jim Hart making his first appearance at quarterback for the Cardinals now from Southern Illinois. Cardinals ball at their 3-yard line. Moving from our left to our right. Here is a handoff. A flag goes down. Johnny Rowland took the handoff. It didn't get very far, maybe to the 5-yard line, and that's all. Mike Colin is now playing at middle linebacker for the Dolphins. Jesse Powell playing at the weak side, and Bob Matheson is playing up front. Illegal procedure is the call against the Cardinals on Johnny Rowland, the man who took the handoff from Hart. Hart has been bothered with injuries throughout his career. He's a 7-year veteran from Southern Illinois. And the illegal motion penalty against the Cardinals has been declined. So the ball will be set down. They'll get the gain out to about the 6-yard line, and the Dolphins elect to take the down and keep the pressure on. It'll be a 2nd down coming up, and about 7 for the Cardinals, the ball at their 6-yard line. They break out of the huddle with Moore sprinting off to the far side and Gray split near side. Anderson and Rowland the split backs, and behind quarterback Jimmy Hart, waiting for the snap. From the 6, long count, somebody jumps from the Dolphins, gets back. Here's Hart throwing to the near side, overthrown, incomplete. It was intended for Mel Gray as he slanted out to about the 15. Running for the chains on the near side of the field, the ball was overthrown. Tim Foley and Dick Anderson covered on the play for Miami. That'll bring up a 3rd down. At about 7 for St. Louis, the ball at their 6-yard line. Donnie Anderson is going out for the Cardinals. And we now have Craig Bainham in at a running back, his first appearance tonight. He played with the Cowboys, was out all last year while a member of the Chicago Bears with a shoulder injury. From Georgia Tech, Moore splits far side, Gray to the near side. Bainham and Rowland are the split backs. 3rd and 7, Cardinals from their 6-yard line. On the snap, Hart dropping back under the goalpost. He sets up the fire. He throws. It is picked off by Foley. 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown. Lloyd Mumford, I beg your pardon. Lloyd Mumford is the man who picked it off. He had just come in as the 5th defensive back for the Dolphins, and Mumford picked the pass off at about the 25 and just ran it in down the sidelines for the TD. So Mumford gets a touchdown. That is his 3rd interception. Foley was playing up close that time, and Mumford was back as a defensive back.
Intercepted by Mumford at the 20.
And Mumford runs it in about 25 yards for the TD. Darryl Yepremian will try the point from placement. Morrill will hold. Kick is up, and it is perfect. With 4 minutes, 11 seconds left to go in this 3rd quarter, the Dolphins now move out to a 24-3 lead. Let's pause here for station identification on the Miami Dolphins Football Network.
You're always a winner when you get your guaranteed used cars at William Lehman Used Cars, 167th Street in North Miami Beach.
WIOD Miami.
Rick Weaver back at the Orange Bowl. Lou?
Rick, Jim Hart back there in that quarterback spot. That's the same problem that he had when he led the team in 1967. In 1967, when he took over as starting quarterback because of Charlie Johnson going into service, why all he did was throw that ball up for grabs and had 30 interceptions in 1 year. He comes in there and plays for about 5 minutes, and what happens? He throws the ball right into the arms of a defender.
All right, here's your Premian's kickoff, and there will be no run back on this one as he kicks it out of the end zone. And so the Cardinals will try to get something started from their 20-yard line. That pass interception was against the Dolphins' prevent defense, and Mumford had just gone into the ball game as a 5th pass defender, and it really paid off as some 28, 29 yards. He grabbed the ball and raced down the near sidelines and was into the end zone before the Cardinals could react in time, and the Dolphins out in front by a score of 24-3. Donnie Anderson and Johnny Rowland will be the running backs now. That is Mumford's first touchdown. Returned on an interception. Walker Gillette is a wide receiver to the near side. Bobby Moore splits to the far side. And the Cardinals operating from their 20-yard line here in this 3rd quarter. Hart, the quarterback. Somebody jumped too soon. Here's the handoff. And booming in across the right side is Donnie Anderson. Gets out to about the 25, but flags go down all over the place. Mike Colin along with Doug Swift in on the tackle for Miami. The Dolphins being able to utilize a lot of people on defense in this ball game now. Henry?
Larry Little got a bruised right calf on that last offensive series. They're working on it. There should be no problem.
All right, the Dolphins defense secondary has Jake Scott. Charlie Babb has gone in now to replace Dick Anderson at safety. Mike Colin, along with Jesse Powell. Doug Swift are the linebackers. Colin playing in the middle, and the penalty is against the Cardinals for illegal procedure. 5 yards. The Dolphins elect to take it, and that puts the ball back at the Cardinals' 15-yard line. Lloyd Mumford with about a 29-yard interception return off the arm of Jim Hart for a touchdown. The Dolphins lead 24-3 with 4 minutes to go in this 3rd quarter. Here is Moore, along with Gillette, double wide receivers to the near side. Anderson and Rowland the split backs in behind Hart. The ball at the 15-yard line. Check it. Leon Burns is now in the ball game and a running back. Back to throw. Hart swings one out, a screen, At the 15 to the 20. Across the 25 goes Leon Burns, who just came in at a running back. And he is knocked down out at about the 27-yard line. Bob Hines makes the tackle for Miami, and they're going to put it at the 27. That is about 3 yards shy of what they need for a first down. Leon Burns from Cal State Long Beach, second-year man, 6'1", 235. And he's rather old for a second-year man. He's 28 years of age. Did not start his football career until later in life.
And wears a size 50 coat, Rick. What a set of shoulders.
And a 32-inch waistline. The ball at the Cardinals' 32, where it'll be second down, or check it, 27, where it'll be second down and 3. Jim Hart, the quarterback, who just had one intercepted by Mumford and run back for TD. Handoff to Anderson over the left side, and he's going to be close to the first down as he was hit by Bill Stanfield and fell forward to about the 30-yard line. And that is going to be close to a first down. It may not be enough. It is not. It'll be a third down and about a half yard to go for a first down. And there comes a young spectator racing onto the field. Running now from our left to our right toward the east end of the field. Nobody paying any attention to him. He's got his hands held up in the air victoriously and hollering, "What a way to go." Nobody's paying any attention to him. The officials are not endeavoring to get him off the field. He's still roaming around down here at the east end. Third down, a half yard. Here's the handoff to Anderson, and he may have just made it as he, coming across the right side, is knocked down just across the 30-yard line. Doug Swift made the tackle on the play. Once the young man had committed himself, he had to go off the field at some area, and he was bound to have been picked up, and that's exactly what has happened, as you can hear from the crowd in the background. He was really joyous.
They're all hollering, "Number one, Rick. We're number one."
All right, the ball after the first down has been achieved by a half yard. It's just across the 30-yard line in Cardinal territory. 1 minute and 49 seconds left to play. In this third quarter, the Dolphins lead 24-3. Here's Cosell. Play fake. Or check it. Hart. He's throwing down the far sideline. It is caught and dropped. They rule it an incomplete forward pass at the Dolphins' 45-yard line. Jackie Smith had it, and he's arguing with the official over there that he did have control of the ball, but as he was hit by Curtis Johnson, the ball popped loose, went out of bounds, and the officials ruled it an incomplete pass.
And if I were rooting for the Cardinals, Rick, I'd have to say that he completed that ball. He caught it. And actually, he had the ball knocked out of his hands when he went along the sideline.
All right, it'll bring up a second down and 10 for the Cardinals, who have not been able to put together too much offense in this ball game. Their deepest penetration to the Dolphins' 8-yard line on a recovered fumble, and then they fumble the ball right back on the next play. Donnie Anderson and Leon Burns are now the running backs. Second down and 10. Cardinals from their 30-yard line. Jim Hart is the quarterback. Bobby Moore splits to the near side, and Mel Gray is back in. He splits far side. Back to throw is Hart. Fires the slant out to the near side to Anderson, and he catches the ball at the 35-yard line and is dropped right there. Driven out of bounds by linebacker Jesse Powell. Henry?
Rick, just so people won't think the police are a bunch of meanies, I checked with the Miami police, and when a youngster ran on the field like that, they merely ushered him out of the stadium, and his punishment is not being able to see the ball game.
All right, a third down and 5 situation for the Cardinals, as Donnie Anderson and Johnny Rowland are now the running backs. The officials moving the ball backwards and forwards, and now put it down at the 35. It'll be a third down and 5. Dolphins conferring with the referee as to where, and the Cardinals thought that perhaps the progress on that forward pass was a little bit beyond the 35-yard line. Anyway, the argument is settled. 56 seconds to go in a weird third quarter with the Dolphins out in front 24-3. Third down and 5. St. Louis from their 35-yard line. Split to the near side is Moore. And Gray is a slot man. Now he goes in motion off to the far side of the field. Back to throw goes Jim Hart. He sets up, firing down the near side. It is incomplete. Almost picked off again. And this time, Tim Foley had a chance at the interception and could not get his hands on the football, at least to hold on to it. The pass was intended for Bobby Moore, and it bounced off the hands of the Dolphin defender. So that brings up a fourth down and a punting situation, as Donnie Anderson again will handle the punting chores, and Jake Scott will go back as the deep man. Dick Anderson as the shallow man. The Dolphins have had 2 fumble punt returns tonight, one by Scott and one by Anderson. Donnie Anderson will stand back at about the 20-yard line. The line of scrimmage is the Cardinal 35. Dolphins lead 24-3. Here's a low snap from center. He gets plenty of time to get it off. He gets it high. The far side of the field, Dick Anderson signals for a fair catch, lets it bounce now. It rolls inside the Dolphin 20, down to about the 15, inside the 15 to the 14, and that's where it's going to be blown dead. At the Dolphins' 14-yard line. So Anderson got a good roll on it. And with just 21 seconds left to play in the third quarter, the Dolphins will start from their 14.
And Rick, you wonder why Anderson didn't actually catch that ball. But this Donnie Anderson has a tendency to kick that ball and gets up in the air and is wobbling all over the place. That's an awful hard ball to handle and catch as a receiver.
He got a 51-yard punt out of that. 10 seconds left to play in the third quarter. Dolphins lead 24-3. Zonka and kick are the running backs. As Morrill spins, hands off to Zonk over the right side and booms his way out to the 19-yard line as Larry Wilson from his strong safety makes the tackle. As the gun sounds, that's the end of the third period. Dolphin football action will continue from the Orange Bowl. With the score, our Dolphins 23 and the Cardinals 3.
The preceding announcement was brought to you as a public service on behalf of the National Football League. Second down and 5. Ball resting at the 19-yard line of the Miami Dolphins. In control of the football game, 24-3 over the Cardinals as we begin the fourth quarter. Morrill going all the way. And fires for Briscoe, a little long.
He had a safety blitz that time, Frank. That was Larry Wilson that came in from the strong safety, and he
started back in 61, Don, remember?
Yeah, there's a little weak safety blitz at that time. Catching in right formation, you couldn't see him coming till he got there. Then you knew he was there. But what I was going to say is that Morrill made a play fake back in there that confused Larry just enough to enable Earl to throw it.
Nothing confuses Larry anymore.
Third down now and 5. Pulley is in, along with Stowe. Morrill has Pulley right, Stowe left. Oh, and, well, when you read the zone, sometimes you confuse your quarterback. Or vice versa.
Yeah, I don't know why, but my instinct tells me that Stowe was the one who was supposed to go deep that time. Of course, my instinct ain't always right. Very seldom is.
But it's good instinct.
Yeah, instinct. Man, you got to have it. It's like momentum. They change jerseys alike.
Morrill to the sidelines. Out comes Billy Lothridge, who was called in from Atlanta, where he is retired and was in business after being relieved from his duties with Atlanta last year.
He sure has him a pretty little old Texas bride. Came down there and married old Mary Beth and took her back to Georgia.
All right, Roger Worley. And Worley right at the 50-yard mark. ABC's NFL Monday Night Football, the St. Louis Cardinals versus the Miami Dolphins, continues from the Orange Bowl in Miami, Florida, with the score: the Dolphins 23, the Cardinals 3.
Sunoco announces a football event for the whole family. To tell you about it, here's Don Shula.
Sunoco brings you NFL action player stamps with stars from every pro team. Every time that you stop at a participating Sunoco station, you get a set of 9 official NFL action player stamps free. They're great to collect and trade. So get your family in on the fun.
Get NFL action player stamps free at Sunoco.
All right, the Cardinals in good field position. However, trailing 24-3, they have a big job out in front of themselves. They'll move first and 10 from their own 49. Leo Hayden has come into the backfield for the Cardinals, number 32. He gets the play fake. And the screen goes out to Moore. And the number 1 pick of the Cardinals from last year gets the first down. He's run out of bounds by Jesse Powell.
Well, those standings speak for themselves, Frank, and relate to our game next Monday night, San Francisco against Los Angeles. The Rams have fallen upon, at least temporarily, doleful days. But their best exhibition this year was their previous game against the 49ers when they routed them 31-7. If they can beat San Francisco next week, then things will really be snarled up with Atlanta very possibly on top in the Western Division. It all depends on next Monday night.
And Moore gets the first down. The ball at the 39. First and 10. This is Rowland. Heading back to the 35. Johnny Rowland, who broke the record set by Charlie Trippey many, many years ago. Vern Den Herder in on the stop.
You were playing when Trippey was playing, only it was in college, right?
Sandlot. As a matter of fact, I did play against Trippey.
I remember when you played in the mud game against the Chicago Cardinals.
Oh, and Mel Triplett almost drowned. Second down and 8. Ball at the 36. Jim Hart has come on in relief of quarterback Gary Quazzo. Oh, and Manny Fernandez thought he detected a little something. Probably the most underrated of the tackles around a defensive football today, at least according to Nick Bonacani.
You can just see he just jumped right on through there. You know, that's kind of nice. So he could have just gone ahead and hit that guy. He was going to get offsides. He knew he was going to be penalized. Most of these guys have a mutual respect for one another, no matter what team they're on, because they realize no matter where they came from, they paid basically the same price to get there.
All right, now at the second down and 3, anticipating the run, you will get Bill Stanfield back into the lineup. Jesse Powell comes out. Dolphins back in their standard 4-3. Hart. Whoa. Did he have the ball long enough for possession? No, he did not. Mel Gray thought maybe he did, and well,
boy, Mel Gray had a little scrapper there, Frank.
Yes, we had a little action too from number 49, Charles Babb, and number 72 of the Cardinals, Dan Deerdorf. And Babb should learn about taking on linemen. They're the big people.
Like light heavyweights against heavyweights. Look at that differential, huh? 1 out of 10 on third down conversions for the Cardinals as compared with nearly 500% for the Dolphins. Mr. Gifford?
Well, they're looking for their second one. It's third down and 3. Jim Hart puts Gray out to the left, Bobby Moore to the right, Leon Burns one setback, Johnny Rowland the other. Number 31.
Right on time.
Out to Bobby Moore.
Oh, how Don looks those third down sideline hitches. Just timed right and just enough for the first down, probably. That's the way you got to do it, huh, Dandy?
Yeah, it is pretty to watch. You know, it's one of those things that should be pretty close to automatic. Hardly ever is, but has lots to do with timing. You got to work together. Bobby Moore is going to be a good one. He himself says, I think, getting to know the quarterback is going to help a whole lot. They've had a lot of quarterback changes this year in St. Louis. He says, as soon as we start working one unit, he says, I think I'm going to like it a lot better.
First down and 10. Cardinals now have Leo Burns, number 38, and Leo Hayden as 2 setbacks. And this is the reverse. Goes to Jackie Smith. And the 10-year veteran from Northwest Louisiana.
Flag goes down out there, too.
And a flag is down. Bob Matheson made the stop. Flipping. Flipping call. I believe levied against the center, Tom Banks. And referee Bernie Olden marks off the big one.
The Cardinals are languishing, but not that youngster. Do you recognize that boy? Don, when you look into the camera, please. That youngster you just saw was Dandy Don Meredith.
Lately, it's occurred to me what a long, strange trip it's been.
You know, I bet Jeff and Hazel like this a little better, don't they, Don?
Trucking, yeah. They thought I was pretty then. Especially Hazel.
Who took that picture?
Jimmy Lawhead took that picture in Dallas, Texas.
Good friend of Billy Bob Harrison.
Oh, yeah.
First down and 25. The Cardinals trailing 24-3, 12:46 remaining in the game. And here comes Mel Gray. Hart firing to Jackie Smith.
Tell you, the ball was well thrown. There goes the flag. Appears to be maybe a little unnecessary roughness, or whatever you call it. Hopefully we'll see it again. You'll see how Jackie Smith caught that ball right in his fingertips. Some receivers seem to have a need to clutch it into their body to hang on to it. In my opinion, the really good ones are the ones that can reach out there and grab it with their hands and put it away. You'll see Smith coming on a cross. We call it a cross pattern. The ball is well thrown. Watch those hands that he had in there. Let's see. I think we maybe get a late hit. Yep. And that's what the flag is. Another 15 yards. So the Cardinals are first down right in there in good scoring position.
Personal foul indicated against the Dolphins, and that puts the ball at the 13-yard line of the Dolphins.
With 12:35 to go, the Dolphins lead 24-3. This is the time for us to say, if St. Louis can score now and can score again and can score again, we've got a big football game.
I'm glad you said it, Howard.
I bet they don't.
I don't gamble myself.
Jim Hart gives the ball to number 38. That's Leon Burns in his second year out of Cal State. A lot of changes for the Cardinals.
Cal State. Leon Burns, he's a guy who really has trouble holding on to the football, Dandy.
He's a big hoss, too. He goes 235.
Got him, of course, from San Diego. Sid Edwards went over there. Sparry says he wouldn't trade Sid Edwards. He's having a big year for any fullback in the league, which may be bias on Harlan's part, but understandable.
Gain of 5 for Burns. Inside the 10, second down and 5. This is Leo Hayden, Minnesota's top draft pick of a year ago. He's dropped by Charles Babb, number 49, as Miami continues their substitutions.
We were told we'd see a lot more of Hayden than we have, Frank, before the game, remember? Wanted to test his speed. Been looking good in practice.
Actually, he's there because Ed Marinaro was the man Bud Grant decided to keep up in Minnesota. Leo Hayden went late. Cardinals took him. Third down now, 2. And I don't know whether I try and challenge that Miami defense with the run. Let's see what quarterback Jim Hart comes up with. Well, boy, Leon Burns, and he did not come up with the first down.
No, he came up with 0.
I'm amazed, though, at how big these guys are. He does almost a full split, I believe is what they call that in your ballet classes. But look at Leon Burns. He comes in. Good hit right there. He turns around. Little Jake Scott, number 13, he comes there and puts the final touches on him.
I'm telling you, that Scott's a wild one. You know, he played Canadian football, and he'll run with anything, he'll hit with everything.
We've got a fourth down, almost 2 yards to go, and this call will have come from the bench. Not that one. Well, look at Jim Hart. First down.
On a busted play in the backfield.
Great call. Mike Poland.
Any way you can get it. There's a mix-up. You can see that I think that's what he was supposed to do, was fake and go out, because you see a pull by the guard there, but he looked to me, he ran into, was that Leon Burns he ran into, or was it Hayden?
Hayden.
Sure, the play was a fake into the middle of the line and let him come out on a bootleg with an option runner pass. So Holloway saying,
well, Bill Austin together.
He's saying take it any way you can get it.
I think he'll smile even at this late date because he will take anything.
First and goal from the 2. Cardinals trailing 24-3.
All right,
there he goes, rolling into the end zone. Burns, Leon Burns. He is a big man, 235 pounds.
And here's just another shot of the touchdown. We saw Burns a while ago go offside, barely contended with. He's sliding right through the tackle there. Got some good blocks up front. We saw Hayden, number 32, out in front of him. Kind of paving the way. Jim Bakken kicking.
And he shortens up the Dolphins' lead to 2 touchdowns. If the Cardinals can get one more and then one more,
and then one field goal.
But nevertheless, we'll be back in the Orange Bowl after this. Well, I don't know whether it'll be an onside kick or not, but the Cardinals were bunched together. That's something they ordinarily do not do prior to a kickoff. Meanwhile, the Dolphins slip back Mercury Morris as the lone safety. Should Bakken decide to go with an onside kick, trailing by 14 points, 9:42 remaining in the game, he would probably kick it to his left, where Roger Worley is located. Roger Worley with the good hand. The single safety, Mercury Morris. He must travel 10, and we get the straightaway kick to Mercury Morris. Morris over the 15, up to about the 18-yard line goes Mercury Morris. And Chuck Beatty, number 31, down there again, working for the Cardinals. Showing well tonight on the special teams and activated just tonight. Miami Dolphins looking for number 11. Oddly enough, their closest game this year, a 24-23 win over Buffalo.
Why oddly?
Well, I thought it was odd. All right, the ball mark just short of the 20-yard mark. Earl Morrill going all the way. Here's Morris. Oh, can he turn it on? Out to the 36 goes Lightning Mercury Morris. Roger Worley made the stop.
I said, why oddly, Frank, half kiddingly. But as we look at this again, let me say this about Buffalo. They're just a couple of players away from being a top contender. Little help in that offensive line as you watch Mercury Morris turn it on. Simpson's having a great year without all the help in the world. They'll be tough next year. Leon Burns, who scored the touchdown for the Cardinals.
Clock moving, 8:33 remaining in the game. Dolphins 24, Cardinals 3. And Morrill, I think, anticipating the snap a little early, and here goes the other one, Zonka. Look at him run.
That was a funny-looking play. Looked like everybody was just kind of standing around there. Zonka was the only one that was moving. The offensive line didn't move that much. Let's see it again. Well, they're in there playing around, though. Then Zonka's finding him a place to go. Cuts to the outside. Miller Farr, Roger Worley. I'll ride you for a while, pal.
They keep churning out the yardage this way in the late going. They'll have that 200-yard ground game before they're done.
You talk about that Buffalo game. I read a story in the paper down here. Marv Fleming caught a touchdown pass, and as he was coming out of the end zone, he found a $10 bill lying in the end zone. Now, you don't do that too often.
Wouldn't tear it up in 40 pieces, though.
From the 44, 1st and 10, flag goes down, Zonka goes down, wrapped up in the arms of Larry Stallings. Zonka, 77 yards on the night.
Yep. It appears they got Wayne Moore on that one, number 79. Appears to be a holding call against the Dolphins. Let's see if we can pick it up. That's Kuchenberg, number 67, out in front. Here's Zonka. Watch number 79. He's got a pretty good grip there on that jersey.
He's a good player, that Moore. He played behind Cruzan, and what was it Nick said yesterday? He could make at least 16 teams in the NFL. Didn't he tell us that, Frank?
Exactly right.
Well, how does he know?
I'd
He
go
is
with
the lawyer.
Nick.
First down at 25 following the penalty. Well, just over the 40 of the Dolphins. 8:11 remaining in the game. First man again, number 39, Zonka rolls over the 50. Well, coming up just short of the 50 is Zonka. No, to about the 49 of the Cardinals. That's where it's marked. Two original setbacks at the beginning of tonight's game. Rowland, who broke the Cardinal rushing record tonight, and Donnie Anderson, 44. Been a tough year for this Cardinal team. They have had more injuries than you could possibly imagine. Second down now and 15. The Dolphins got on scoreboard first. Kick scoring from 2 yards out. St. Louis came back with a field goal. Miami got their own field goal. It was 10-3 at the halftime. The Dolphins have broken it open in the third quarter. Look how quick Mercury Morris is.
He really is. Here comes a couple more flags.
Yep.
That's probably a face guard or something like that. Whatever it was, they didn't like it down there.
Oh, Dale Hackbart in there, Don. He'll get in there on you.
He really is a character, too. Hackbart's no quarterback. And he's got him on a lot of specialty teams. They were telling a joke on him this afternoon. They all went dove hunting. He hadn't been dove hunting before. They put him off the field by himself, and they said, Hack Mark came back with the biggest sack of killdees you ever saw in your life. Thought he'd been shooting doves.
It's a face mask, obviously, and let's take another look at it.
You saw Mercury Morris make his reaction when he saw Don Brum, number 86, go upfield there. Picked up a good one right here, and let's see. You can see it pretty good. There's that face mask. Old Dale says you got to get him down any way you can.
He is one of the funniest men in American sport, that Hackbart, and he's a great imitator, great mimic.
Tried to match his size and legs with mine today, and he won.
Automatic first down goes with the face mask penalty. First and 10 Miami, moving on the Cardinals 43. And over the 40 to the 39. Morris and Zonka both having fine nights this evening. Coming into the game, Morris having by far his best year, 639 yards coming into tonight. He's gained 59 more tonight.
I wonder how many backs will hit 1,000 yards this season, Frank. Maybe moving those hash marks in is the whole answer.
That and getting a good offensive line.
Second down and 7, the ball resting just short of the 39-yard line of the Cardinals. Morrill almost trips again. Gets the screen to Mercury Morris. Morris inside the 30. The Giants blocking out in front.
Carrying that ball rather dangerously. He had it out in one hand, but obviously he knew what he was doing. He does have some great moves. He's an exciting player to watch because he's very quick. Let's see, Earl. He's coming back again. Flips it right over, a little screen pass to Morris. Now watch him out that ball. He's got a loaf of bread in his hand. And then he puts it away. Gets everything he can.
What a new dimension Morris adds to the Dolphins. They still have kick to come back with, but boy, can this young man get to the outside. Picks up the first down at the 28-yard mark. Here comes Larry Wilson. The safety blitz is picked up. It could be 6.
He is so wide open.
That's what happens when you pick up the safety blitz. Otto Snow gets his second touchdown.
Frank, he's just so wide open over there. He was
uncovered totally, but Frank noticed so well the way that safety blitz was picked up on Larry Wilson. Beautiful. See the youngster?
All right, here's Zonka. I believe he's the one that picks up Larry Wilson, number 8. And Earl has plenty of time to throw, and I'm telling you, Otto Stowe is all alone. Old Thompson's having his trouble tonight. Mr. Stowe.
And Earl Morrill having quite a night. His second touchdown pass to Otto Stowe. He's 12 of 18, 210 yards. And the ageless one continues to roll on. The ageless? Well, I would call him ageless. Still has his crew cut. So now 5 receptions, 123 yards as we look at Daryl Yepremian. Well, who is it against? Offside Cardinals. Apparently the whistle had blown, contact hadn't been made. The whistle blown before the ball had been snapped. So we'll do it again. Yepremian looking for the 31st Dolphin point. There it is. So the Miami Dolphins extend their lead 31-10 over the St. Louis Cardinals. We'll be back in the Orange Bowl right after this message. Caro Yepremian sets it up. 6 minutes and 20 seconds remain in the game. On your left, Bobby Moore. On your right, number 32, Leo Hayden. And Bobby Moore will have an opportunity, and watch the stride of this man. And he strides out to about the 27. Where he's nailed rather convincingly by number 57, Mike Colon. Number 60, also there, Al Jenkins.
As this game begins to grind down, Gifford, with slightly more than 6 minutes left, In retrospect, it's gone about as expected. Miami a little sluggish in the first half, putting things together in the second half. Morrill mixing the pass with the run beautifully. 2 TD passes to Stowe. And they're just a good football team.
Solid in just about every way. All right, the flags go. Cardinals looking a little disorganized. I believe they might have taken too much time.
Miami, excuse me, Frank. I was just going to say it's a helpless feeling to be down about 21 points and you're trying to regroup at this time of the game and say, look, I guess I'm talking about from a quarterback standpoint. Jim Hart's come in there late, had one picked off, run back for a touchdown. It has to affect your confidence, and I understand that this has been one of the problems in St. Louis is to get the right type of confidence or leadership that they're looking for all year. And here's a guy that has some ability. You got to wonder, well, what's going to happen to me next?
All right, he has 5 minutes and 44 seconds to find out. And it goes out to Leo Hayden, the screen. Dobra with a good block, and Hayden gets up to the 40-yard line.
I think we can expect Miami to give them the screens quite a bit. They're going to be playing, obviously, against the... They're not going to give them anything. Let's put it another way, that the screens should be open, maybe in the short zones, but these guys are going to be playing fairly deep. They're in a kind of a semi-prevent defense, and I'm sure Hart's aware of that also, but he's trying to get the ball down the field the best way he can and get whatever points he can on the scoreboard. They need touchdowns, not field goals.
And right now, trailing 31-10. Hart sends both backs out of the backfield. Oh, and almost intercepted, and I believe caught. Yes, it was Bobby Moore with the quick hands. Mike Colon had his hands on the ball, and Bobby Moore very alertly came up with the reception. Down to the 47-yard line of the Dolphins.
We've talked about Bonacani a lot tonight, Frank, on an evening when he's been getting a lot of rest, seen very little action. In that piece yesterday, they called him the aging pro veteran. At 32, he doesn't like that.
It was funny listening to him talk about it yesterday, that I went from the youngster to the veteran to the aging veteran, and I can tell him that's the process. First and 10 from the 47. Hart trying one deep. Moore back there defending as he has been so many times. Johnny on the spot, number 25, Jim Foley.
He was just pretty well covered. He did make a good attempt to catch the ball. Bobby Moore, we've been talking about him tonight. Number 1 draft choice with awful lot of talent. That ball was thrown a long way, but you see Foley is right in there. He's trying to stay away from Moore's body so they won't call an interference call, but Moore almost went over the top there, picked that one up.
But Foley stayed right with him, and Moore is a swift one. That coverage is beautiful.
All right, out comes one linebacker, and in comes Mumford. Mumford, who has already returned one interception for a touchdown in the Miami prevent defense. Second down and 10. The ball at the 47. Clock moving, 4:09. Lost the football. Miami recovers. Might be Baltimore, 65. It is. Baltimore with the recovery.
Cookman, he's a good one.
Well, we haven't had any complaints from St. Louis about not showing their highlights, and I would think that the management would be grateful.
Howard, you stop trying to make friends out in St. Louis.
I think the people in St. Louis are exceptionally good fans, as a matter of fact. They're disgruntled about that team. That's understandable, but they also understand the injuries that team has had. They'll be fair to Holloway.
3:43, clock moving. New quarterback is in the game, and this is Jim Delgado.
And he'll lend some interest to the late going here because he's a highly regarded young man. Shula thinks he's got a big future.
Throws left-handed, I believe, doesn't he?
That he does. Also in there is Hubert Genn.
He had 4 out of 6 when he came in relief not too long ago. 2 of them were for touchdowns. 145 yards.
Did a taxi job all last year with Miami. Out of Tampa University. Zonka working hard. Miami goes on to meet New England next week, and then they go up to Yankee Stadium where they meet a pretty red-hot bunch of New York Giants. Set a scoring record yesterday against the Philadelphia Eagles, and have had quite a record. Been a long time since the Giant team got into the 60s, but that is a club scoring record. Okay, on the third and short yardage, and look at the big man ball. Larry Zonka, what can you say? He just runs over people. Nothing subtle about him.
Over the 100-yard mark for the day, Frank. 15 carries, 108 yards. This team will probably get to its 206-yard average per game on the ground before time runs out.
And Zonka gets a standing ovation from 80,000 Dolphin fans. 2-minute warning. We'll be back in Miami after this. 2 minutes remaining in the game. The Dolphins in command of the Cardinals, 31-10. Some of the more exuberant Miami Dolphin fans being a little discourteous, running out onto the field, fighting with the officers. We certainly would not show it. From the 33-yard line on 1st and 10, the Dolphins. And this is Ginn, Hubert Ginn. The old veteran.
Not a bad night considering the nature of the circumstances. Jackie Smith is a pro, no question about it.
Great competitor. Oh, he is. He couldn't care how far the Cardinals are down. He still gives it everything he's got. Okay, a 2nd down and 6 now. The ball resting at the 28-yard line of the Cardinals. Jim DelGazio. Throw much better than that. Boy, he drilled that time.
Oh, catch him much better. That Otto Stowe is some kind of receiver.
Yeah, old Norm Thompson's going to remember this, but watch this kid right here. Sets real good, follows through, and watch that ball is right on target. Good move out there by Stowe.
Clock stop, 1:16. Miami threatened again. They lead 31-10. They've never been in trouble, although at halftime, their lead was only 10-3. Came back. Mumford returned an interception, 28 yards. Burns scored for St. Louis. With the Dolphins in complete control. Oh, Hubert Ginn gets a little upset.
There are a lot of weird people out here.
Dandy's referring to the fact that still another fan has run out on the field, and there have been many of them. There. Actually, it's not seemly even to show it.
Illegal procedure.
Might only encourage that kind of behavior.
Boy, look at that.
Yeah, they piled it up this half, Don. Frank, that's the whole story. Second straight year down here in the Orange Bowl, fellas. We've had the Dolphins, and they've poured it on. Last year, they proved their worth when they crushed the Bears 34-3. And now they're quite possibly on their way to making it 38 points for the evening against the Cardinals. They lead 31-10, a minute 14 to go.
In the Dolphin huddle, the rookie from Tampa. Although he did taxi last year, he's rated as a rookie, Jim DelGazio. Charlie Lee down to about the 2.5-yard mark. And Otto Stowe, as Howard mentioned a moment ago, has had himself some night. 2 touchdowns, great hands, a lot of promise.
He's averaged 24 yards per reception, Giff. That may be better than you had in your last year.
I guarantee you. Clock moving, 42, and the Miami Dolphin fans want more. Hubert Ginn, Larry Wilson, he's another man that won't quit on you. Is there, along with Hargrove. This is some kind of a player. Third active interceptor for the National Football Conference. Has 49 career interceptions.
The fans are booing. They want even more. But the Dolphins are going to let this clock run out. It's 5. It's 4. They're not seeking to pour it on any more than they have to.
And that's how it's going to wind up. The Miami Dolphins winning their 11th straight game. 31-10 over the St. Louis Cardinals. And this is some kind of football team. We'll be back at the Orange Bowl right after this message. The executive producer of NFL Monday Night Football is Roone Arledge. Coverage of tonight's game was produced by Chet Forty and Dennis Lewin. Directed by Chet Forty and Joe Assetti. Our associate director, Jack Champ Gallivan. Technical directors, Bill Morris and John Broderick. Next Monday night, NFL football travels to San Francisco, where the Los Angeles Rams meet the San Francisco 49ers at 9 Eastern Time here on ABC. Once again, the final score, Miami winning its 11th consecutive game, 31, St. Louis 10. This is Frank Gifford along with Howard Cosell and Don Meredith saying so long from the Orange Bowl in Miami, Florida. Air travel arranged through and a promotional fee paid by United Airlines, providing friendship service to 19 NFL teams.